What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Show Me What I've Been Missing. I am one of your hosts, Chris Mack, and I'm here with my lovely friend, Elizabeth Stanton, and we have a great show for you today.
What's up?
Today, we are not covering Sex and the City. Today is our special episode, and we are covering one of my favorite movies of all time, The Mask of Zorro.
The tables have turned. I've
The
never
tables have
seen
turned.
it.
So Elizabeth hasn't
Somehow in
seen
my
this.
travels, I never saw it.
I don't know, like that, dude. And that's so like when you told me that you hadn't seen this movie, that like it shocked me. Not in the sense of like, oh my god, I can't believe you haven't seen it, but like it's so in our wheelhouse of things
Right.
that we were supposed to see as we grew up. Like in the
I remember
90s.
all the ads. I remember the trailer for it like crazy.
Oh, here's the thing. Another added little piece of trivia to it. This is a 1998 film.
I was gonna say we are still
So
we are
we're still
taking
in there.
the break from Sex and the City, but we are still in the year 1998.
Yes. More the kids side of 1998.
kid-friendly
Yeah,
1998.
kid-friendly 1998. Yeah, it's not sex, and nobody's talking about anal in a cab. It's just good old sword fighting and gunplay. Good old Western we got going
Chased,
on.
kissing.
So, first off, I want to
Mhm.
ask, you've seen the movie now.
Mhm.
How do you feel about it?
I liked it. It's one of those like I don't know why I didn't ever see it, like, and how I know everybody I know at that time or knew at that time saw it.
Mm.
I feel like my parents might have seen it too, like without
Wow.
me. Maybe not. I don't know. I'll have to
Yeah.
confirm. But like I wrote down in my notes, this reminds me of Pirates of the Caribbean. Now I know that obviously came well after
Yeah.
that,
Well,
but it's that
technically-
same swashbuckly.
Yeah. Well, technically,
fucking-
Pirates of the Caribbean is actually older than Zorro because it was based off the ride. Remember that movie's based
Right,
off the ride.
but Zorro's even older than the ride.
That's
'Cause
right.
they've
Yeah.
had and this is the other weird thing about why I never saw it. I used to really love Zorro when I was little. Like they played the show, the 50s
Uh-huh.
Disney show.
I love
on
those. Yeah.
Disney Channel
yeah.
when I was a kid, and I was like, hell yeah, I love Zorro. And
That's
then
crazy.
somehow between really liking Zorro when I was little
Yeah.
and 1998, just never saw it. And then up until literally just now.
That's
last
dude,
night.
That's crazy that like you loved Zorro but never
Yeah.
saw the Mask of Zorro.
Nope.
Like
Makes
How
no
did you-
sense.
because here's the thing too. Here's the crazy thing is you were watching the old episodes
Yeah.
on the Disney Channel.
Mhm.
And they periodically played this movie on the Disney Channel because it is a Disney movie.
Yeah.
and you missed it.
Well, Spielberg executive produced it. I don't think it's a Disney movie.
I believe it is, isn't it? Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. But they played it on the Disney Channel, I know for sure. I know I've
Yeah.
never seen it. And it's on Stars as well. I remember it because I don't know if you remember back in the 90s and like early 2000s, but like, Stars was that channel. If you wanted to watch a movie and you liked it, you wait about 2 hours, you get to see it again. Because they basically had like 4 to 5 movies on a loop at a time for every week, and then they would switch
Yes.
off to something else.
That's how I've seen some movies like 8 million times and like just never broke with it. No, so this is technically distributed by Sony and TriStar and Amblin Entertainment, Spielberg's company. So,
Gotcha. Oh, I
but
could've
it
sworn
it
was
does.
Disney.
That's why the Pirates of the Caribbean comparison fits so because it feels like it could be like a Disney family
maybe
movie.
that's why I feel like that. Yeah.
Because there's nothing like. I read in the trivia that Robert Rodriguez was considered to direct this, and then he wanted to do like a crazy hard R, and they were like, "No, get out of here! No, you can't show Salma Hayek's boobs during Zorro. Get out,
Oh man,
weirdo!"
dude. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Now that I have seen this movie, and now that I didn't know that was a thing, but now I kind of want to see a
I
Robert.
kind of want to see the hard
directed-
R.
Yeah, I would like to see that because here's the thing: we already got some pretty. I mean, imagine the sex scenes in that movie because
Right?
you saw this like. I mean, basically, in this movie, there was 2 sex scenes. I don't care what you say. Between the
It's
dance
implied.
scene, the dance scene and then the little fight scene that Catherine Zeta and Antonio had.
Dress fall apart moment.
I don't care what y'all say. Those are two sex scenes because that shit was hot.
It was. I think I wrote, ooh, it's sexy sword fight time.
And it was.
And it was.
I mean, oh man. Okay, so that was.
You lead me through it because I like took a chill approach to watching. I took notes and everything like that, but you've seen it more than I have, so lead me through your questions, comments, concerns.
I mean, well, here's the thing. To me, this is watching it as an adult is totally different now, and I'm noticing things which is like you can tell it's very of the time. Like Anthony Hopkins and Stuart Wilson. Anthony Hopkins plays Jesus Christ.
Don. Oh, I get it. Sounds Don Diego de la Vega.
De la Vega, yeah, he plays De la Vega, and then Stuart Wilson plays Don Rafael. Supposed to be Spanish, no accents. They were just regular.
Yeah. I was ready, and then there was no accent, and I was like, ugh. Hilaria Baldwin, they ain't.
Look, here's the thing.
Yeah, by the way, we're watching
Anthony Hopkins, both great actors. Both great actors. And it's like, that was the thing that upset me a little bit. Because like, here's the thing. I get it. They're both great actors. Mm-hmm. I love them to death. Love watching everything that they do. But both can play great villains and they both can play, the good guy very well. Mm. But like, this is so 98 because nobody give a fuck about accent. Like the only two people that had an accent was Antonio Banderas, who's already Spanish.
Yeah.
And Catherine Zeta, who's British, but put on an accent. And
she is Welsh, as is Anthony Hopkins. So that's funny that they play father and daughter because they're both Welsh.
Well, here's also the funny thing is like the fact that if you see in the movie, his wife has an accent.
Yeah.
His daughter grows up with an accent. No accent. He spends an entire 20 years in a Mexican prison. No accent. Not even by accident. Just now he still comes out as like classically British sounding as possible, which is
Hannibal Lecter carving Z's into people.
And that's the thing too. Is like a lot of people don't know this, but like I actually have a few Spanish friends, and so most of them that do know English, they do learn, as I say, the King's English.
Oh, okay.
Or the Queen's English. So like they do learn English in the proper way. But here's the thing, even with that, they still have an accent. Like they say certain words with the British accent on it, a few words here and there. But for the most part, when they're speaking English, they still have an accent. So I'm like, how are these two prominent men of Spaniard descent in the class don't have an accent? Just zero. None. Nobody learns English that well, especially back then. This was like supposed to be what, the 1800s or something?
Early
like
1800s, 1821, I think is when it starts.
Yeah, I think it's when it's 1821. They wouldn't have had accents like that.
Oh,
they would have sounded like Spaniards. Yeah. They would sound like Spaniards. Especially too, like if they're going around there, in California. This is like when when California still belonged to Mexico. So you're speaking Spanish all over the place, yada yada yada, and y'all still have these British accents. That don't make sense. Like Disney or fucking just drop the ball on that one.
Well, no, the whole like independent California, independent from Spain and Mexico, is what they were shooting for.
Right.
To run their own like fiefdom of neither here nor there. It was kind of interesting. And what did I write down? Like at the beginning, that little opening thing says like, oh, it's an unwanted leader who won't leave power. Interesting. Still relevant.
Yeah, I know. Like
people don't fucking learn.
I mean that's the thing too, is like Don Rafael's whole plan was to buy California and make it its own country. Yeah. Which is so funny to me as a Texan, because Texas has been trying to do that.
You guys are nuts. You're like
for like 100 years.
We are America, but also we are our own kingdom. And you need to respect that. I'm like, well, you're either or, bud. I don't know what
bro. I remember, I don't know if you were aware of this, but like, it was so funny. Maybe like 6 years ago now. It was like right when I moved out here. Was like, it was a no bullshit, real conversation that people were having on the news about Texas annexing from America becoming its own thing. Like it was like a literal thing that
kind of.
people were trying, like they thought was like, oh shit, is Texas about to be gone? Like, are we about to have to pay like a toll or a tax to get into Texas? Right. And I low key was mad. I'm like, I'm from there. What the fuck? Do I get a passport immediately? Like, what do I? I had just moved to LA, so I was like, oh, you fucking kidding me? Like, this is when y'all do it when I'm out of the country, basically.
Yeah. I leave the country and you guys, or I leave the state and you guys become your own country. I see how it is.
Also, Texas by the way, like the idea that Don Raphael was like, we're gonna buy California from Santa Ana with his own gold. Yeah, that's fucking gangster.
That's
gangster shit.
I won't lie. Sometimes in movies like this, I am like, whatever about the plot. Who gives a fuck? Because that's not what it's about. Right. But I was like, trying to figure out what the whole deal was with the gold mines, and then they're like, oh, we're gonna sell it. Like he doesn't know this gold is here.
Yeah.
And we're gonna just stamp it with our own thing and say it's that. And I was like, oh, and then I was left wondering, how does he not know the gold is there? Is it just like he doesn't know that mine exists?
Yeah, that's probably what it was. Yeah. I mean, because like
easily answered. Not
at the time, Santa Ana was fighting with the Americans.
Mm-hmm.
So, he was all occupied with that shit. So he probably wouldn't know the little mine outside of California.
Right.
That's like shit that probably would have been brought to him later if Don Raphael was actually, loyal to Spain.
Right.
Which also I found, we'll get to that later. But like, if he was actually loyal to Spain, I'm assuming that information would have gotten to Santa Ana eventually, right. But like he was like, nah, we gonna do our own shit, so fuck that.
No, he was like, he's like, forget being loyal to anyone. I want to be not king. He didn't say king, but basically king of his own country.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, he was gonna be the big leader. I mean,
you don't concoct a plan like that without trying to be,
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, he could have been, a little bit like Thanos about it, being like, "Hey, I'm doing it for the people." But
right?
Like, nah, this is for me.
He did kind of imply that, at least as
that was bullshit. You talking about when he?
But I knew he was lying.
Yeah.
Because there was that moment where he said to the people, he's like, "You're neither cared for by Spain nor you're really cared for by Mexico,
right?
Because they're like indigenous people to America, or,
right?
What is known as America.
Yeah.
So he's kind of theoretically calling out like, hey, no one gives a shit about you, but I do.
Right.
But then of course he's like, was like, I might try to fucking murder you all.
Well, that's the thing. But you can't come back. Okay, so like 20 years ago, he was just picking peasants out of a crowd and was like, execute these three just for fun. Like, I know we lost the war and California is about to go back to Mexico, but like,
right.
Fuck these peasants real quick one time. Let's put them on. They're just like 20 years ago, he was killing people at random and just like, at pretty much whenever he just had, a thought in his head of like killing somebody, he was just having them executed. And then he comes back and he's like, hey, I'm doing this for y'all. Nah, bro. You can tell.
You think there's one person in that crowd who's like, hold on, I want to hear what he's saying.
Nah, none of them give a fuck.
Don Raphael's got some points.
Nah.
And everybody's like, Dave, shut up.
You know what though? Real talk, probably.
There is at least one person who's like, hold on. He's like, I'm not trying to be contrarian here, but Don Raphael's not wrong. Mexico doesn't care about us, and California or Spain doesn't. We could be our own country. And I was like, Steve, God damn it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's one of those things where
Steve,
it's like,
we are locked in this cage and they're trying to blow up the mine. Now is not the time.
Like, guys, hear him out.
Hold up.
I mean, he came in a fancy boat. He must really care. Like, he came all the way from Spain just to tell us this. Let's hear what he got to say.
He brought his hot daughter all the way from Spain. Let's hear him out.
Oh my gosh, she is so hot in this movie. Oh my god, dude. When I was a kid, talk about heartbreak. When I found out that she wasn't Spanish, when I found out Catherine Zeta-Jones was not Spanish, I felt betrayal of the highest level because she's so hot in this movie with the Spanish accent, and I mean she already has like the naturally dark or tannered skin, you know what I mean? So like they had to do a lot of makeup, and you know she was all fierce and fighting swords and just looking just delicious, and then you know you hear her on the interview and she's
like, I'm Welsh, and you're like,
it was like God, I was like, nothing's real anymore.
Everything is a lie.
Everything is a lie. Fuck Hollywood, and now I'm in the business.
Hollywood's
but whatever.
Fake as hell.
I mean, it is, but like
it is.
You know, I understand the fakeness of it now, so I'm not as betrayed. But as a kid, you couldn't like. I mean, I was like, man, but in that regard too, I was also ignorant because I thought she was Mexican and not Spanish. I didn't know there was a difference between Spanish and Mexican. I thought that's just.
Oh yeah, no, Spain are the colonizers.
Yeah,
European colonizers coming in, and you
right.
know, I think people, and I used to too, like really equate like Spain and Mexico are the same. It is they're both like Latino, Latinx, or whatever, and it is not the same.
No.
Spain is Europe.
Right.
Being from Spain makes you European. Being from Mexico, South America in general, that is Latinx. That's very, very different. Now that's what's funny. I know we talked before about Anthony Hopkins having bright blue eyes and wearing tan makeup as Don DeLuise.
Right.
And that's definitely an issue because
it is. But I forgave it.
But at the same time, if you consider that there is European influence in Mexico, and then you can't assume like every Mexican person has brown hair and brown eyes. It's not just not quite how it works.
Well, that's why, and that's the thing too. Is like now that I've grown up and like I've met Spanish people, like actually a friend of mine, she has like these bright green eyes and she's Spanish. But I was like, you realize that actually makes sense for Don De La Vega and Don Rafael to kind of look more European because that's what Spaniards are. They are European descent, and they just happen to speak Spanish. That's really all it is. Just white guys that speak Spanish. That's really all.
And I saw, of all things, I'm always referencing TikTok because I spend way too much time on it. But there's 3 guys there. One is from Mexico, one is from Colombia, and one is from Spain. And they all speak Spanish, but the Spanish between those 3 countries is very, very different. And so they'll say a word in each respective thing. And sometimes there's similarities. Actually, so more often than not, there's similarities between the Mexican and Colombian Spanish, and then the European Spanish is very, very different too. It's really interesting.
Well, that's like, I mean, it's like us, like somebody from Texas speaks English.
Right.
Not the same way that somebody from England speaks English.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like that's so that like Spain is like the England of Spanish.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You got like Colombia or something like that. That's like our South. That's like their South. You know what I mean? Like that's like the Texas of Spaniards. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it is funny that a guy from Spain is playing basically a Mexican hero.
Yeah.
Antonio Banderas is Zorro, but
I mean, but at least they did that part, right? At least they didn't have like a white guy come in with a tan and like, no accent being Zorro. At least they got somebody who already had, like.
Hey there, I'm Zorro. How you doing?
Yeah. Somebody from like.
Someone from. I'm from the Midwest.
Oh hell no! I'm Zorro.
Oh geez.
Oh geez.
They really crack it down on you here. All right, hang on.
Shooting. Oh geez, they got swords. Oh,
hang on, let me set you guys free here. Hang on one sec. Whoop, just trying to squeeze by.
Just gotta get on my trusty speed here.
Let me just squeeze by you here real quick.
Actually, now I want to see that. I want to see somebody from Fargo being Zorro. That's where I
want to see Midwestern Zorro.
Yeah, with that, they have to have that accent. You have like a Minnesota or a Chicagoan accent. Yeah. I want to see like a deep Chicagoan accent. Be like, I'm Zorro.
Get them nasal A's. That's what I have from Michigan. I hide it most of the time, but it comes out.
Oh man, that would be a whole nother movie. That'd be like if the guys from South Park did Zorro. Like that's what that would be like, just trolling the world.
Yeah.
But that movie couldn't be made because people would be way too sensitive. Like, you're disrespecting the culture, and it's like, well, he's a fictional.
Well, I looked up the history of Zorro, and he is a fictional character written by a pulp author who happened to be white. Just pointing that out, no joke. That guy's name was.
Hey, like Spanish white or white white?
I'm pretty sure white Johnston McCulley.
Ooh, that sounds Irish.
I was like, that sounds like my people.
Yeah, that sounds white white. That's Caucasian.
And in the now, admittedly, I only had the Wikipedia article to work with. I did not do a deep dive on him. No, it does not specify if he has any Spanish heritage or Mexican heritage at all. He is from Illinois, so not saying it's impossible.
Maybe he's like a 10th Spen.
Who knows?
I mean, there's probably a little bit in there.
It's not that you can't write outside your wheelhouse. It's just make sure you're being respectful if you do. That's
listen, the guy who wrote the Three Musketeers is a black man, and none of them were ever musketeers. So, like, hey, he knew something.
Yeah. So, just, if you're gonna, like I said, if you're gonna be outside your wheelhouse, just make sure you're being respectful. Do your research. Yeah, just do your research and be respectful.
That's what's up. That's true. Be respectful, that part.
He wrote a lot of pulp novels, and Zorro is sort of like one of the first fictional masked vigilantes. I can't talk.
Okay.
I can't talk so good.
No words, no good.
He also did one called The Crimson Clown. There's the Spider, who's I guess a villain. Somebody called Black Star, who's a criminal mastermind. So yeah, he did all these pulp, novels and stories. And the first one, the first Zorro book is called The Curse of Capistrano.
Ooh, that sounds good.
It does sound good. And so,
that sounds
badass. So that was written in 1919, and then the first Zorro movie is a year later with Douglas Fairbanks, and I think that one is just called The Mark of Zorro. Yeah, The Mark of Zorro.
I haven't seen that one. We probably should watch
either.
I feel like that might be a good Western. I like Westerns anyway, and that's like Zorro's like, even the TV show was like very old school Western, so I love that shit. That's my jam all day. I used to watch
Douglas Fairbanks is known for all the swashbuckling stuff. I like, swinging from ropes and laughing and landing and laughing, but it's silent. It's silent, those early movies. So
yeah,
that's interesting too. But then the trivia I was reading about this was the guy who was training Antonio Banderas and everybody else on the film also trained Errol Flynn for all his Robin Hood movies and things like that. And so that's where we get a lot of the same kind of action that I really enjoy. And I guess this trainer said Antonio Banderas is the best he's worked with since Errol Flynn. So that's a high compliment.
It's actually really realistic. And obviously there's, when he's fighting, 20 guys at once, that's ridiculous. I mean, you could probably take on like 2 or 3 guys if you're a good skilled swordsman in real life, but you're not taking on 10. But just the moves that he was doing, like during the training when Anthony Hopkins was like calling out numbers, like now that I've done like stage combat training, I'm like, oh shit, like that's
really
numbers. Okay. Yeah, like the pair, like he was like 1, 2, 4, like those are actually parrying.
Okay, interesting.
Sections. So, because like in fencing or in saber fighting, they basically break the body down into 4 sections.
Okay.
So your attack, and each one of them has vital organs within the 4 sections.
Right.
So like your attacks that you call out, the numbers or your blocks and stances are all broken down into. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And so when he was calling out those numbers to parry, and he was doing it, those are actual stances. And surprising, and I used to think that like, you see they're all standing all flowery with their hand on their back, and you're like, that don't do shit. Actually, the hand on the back, on the lower back, is a balancing.
Okay, yeah.
It looks pretty, but it's also a balancing thing for your stance, because you're fighting with one arm. It's also to because you're not standing right in front of somebody, you're standing to the side, so it makes less of a target.
It protects that kind of side of your body.
Exactly, like it protects that side of your body, and also it keeps him from getting that arm injured in case the fighting one does. You can switch and continue to defend yourself, or at least pull out your dagger to defend yourself. So they did pretty well as far as a big action movie with sword fighting and keeping it within a real realm of actuality. I love it. Yeah, you know what? I mean, like, these are one of those movies that, you know, we all believe. I mean, there's no such thing as perfect, but I think that, like, as far as this movie's casting went, I
Oh
think it
yeah.
was like they found all the right, like they found all the best people to do this role. Like
Mm-hmm.
when I watch a movie like this, like I said, there's very few in between. But like sometimes you watch a movie, you're like, oh, I could see such and such actor being this or such
Yeah.
as actress doing that. Like this movie is like, nope, everybody who got the role they got should have gotten it.
Mm-hmm.
Antonio Banderas is hilarious in this movie.
I kept writing down how funny he
He's
was.
so
I
funny.
loved it. He's so freaking funny.
Highly
So
underrated comedic
cute.
actor. Highly underrated
Yeah,
comedic
he's
actor. He's
really
so
got.
good at comedy timing. It's so good.
I was gonna say timing. He's so good at like the head tilts at the right moment, or like delivering the line. It's just he's really really good. And I was like,
Yeah.
he's like so funny and charming. I get why everybody is like so into him at the time, and now
Oh
still
yeah.
like,
Oh, 1998. Antonio was the man. He was
tops.
like, I think he got like Sexiest Man Alive
Probably,
magazine
yeah.
like twice or something like that. Within,
Yeah.
not back to back, but it was like within a few years of each other. This was like height
Non-consecutive
of.
wins.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's done consecutive. I don't think anybody's done.
I
I
don't
may be
think so
wrong.
either.
I don't think anybody's gotten consecutive Sexiest Man Alive awards, but he got a couple of them. I think I'm pretty sure he got that magazine at least twice. And this was like height of Antonio Banderas. This is when, especially after this movie, oh
yeah.
man, even the girls, like I mean, 1998, you know, girls at school were even talking about it. I'm like, of course they don't know what they were really saying, but like every girl from like kids to adults was like Antonio.
Ladies love
man.
Antonio.
That's what they wanted to come home to every night. Everybody had to be Antonio.
and yes, he's very attractive, but like humor works on me real well. So like he's funny, and that's a huge thing too. Like all the whole bit trying to steal the horse was like fucking hilarious. It was like so good.
Yeah,
like, it's just like effortlessly charming, and I love it.
Yeah, no doubt. Like, and even in the scene where he's like, where he, you know, they come into the party, he's like faking like he's a proper Spaniard from a high class. Even in that, like, okay, yes, the idea that he's supposed to be charming and like get into Don Raphael's good graces like immediately, but like the thing about it is like usually when you see a scene like that, you kind of question. It's like, okay, you just
how
go
are
along
they
with
hiding that part of their personality?
Well, not so much that. It's just like, well, that part too. Actually, I take it back. But like, it's not even so much that. It's just like, you know, like, sometimes you watch a movie like that where the guy pretends to be something else to like get in the good graces, and you kind of go along with it because like this is the plot of the movie, and like this is how we get to, you know, to the end. So you go with it. But like in his case, I was like, man, he's killing it. Because like, here's the thing: this dude because he comes in and he tells Don Raphael, he's like, I am. You know, like he's basically like, I'm friends with the queen, basically, and but I can help you get in good graces with her. And then he's so charming, he brings him into the secret meeting where he's trying to betray the queen. But you just met this guy. He just told you I'm direct friends with her. Like if I told on you, you could go to jail or be tortured to death. And he's still so damn charming that Don Raphael forgets all that and still brings him into the meeting.
Also, he makes that rose appear, and I love close-up magic, so boom, sold.
I'm laughing because like I'm picturing like, you know, 12-year-old Elizabeth just be like just giddy, super giddy.
Fucking adult Elizabeth sitting on her bed was like, oh yeah, you made a rose appear. God, I love that shit. It's my favorite thing. It's my favorite thing in the world. Whenever people, magicians, I'm like, yeah, magicians suck. I fucking love stage magic. Oh my god!
I don't know when it became so cool to hate magic, but like
I don't either.
I love it.
Fucking delightful.
It's so cool. Yeah, it's fun. Like I was like close-up magic has always been. I've always been a little bit jealous of people that can do that because like it's such a good party trick. And example in the movie, bust out the rose
panty dropper move, man. It's great.
like, you know, he didn't do nothing crazy. He was like, he didn't bring out a deck of cards. It was like, pick one and none of that shit. Like, just a little bow,
I didn't know where that flower was before, and suddenly he had a flower, and I was like, hell yeah, I love it.
That's the kind of close-up magic I like. I mean, you know, like I like stage magic too. Don't get me wrong. That was like my jam. But like, you know, close-up magic. I hate when people want to do card tricks. Like when you pull out a hand of cards, I'm like, why do you just walk around with that in case? Like I hate it. Yeah. but making a rose appear real quick or something like that, I'm cool with it. You know, make a coin disappear real quick. That's cool. Like do that at a party. Don't bring fucking cards to the party.
Don't try to upstage me with your deck of cards.
Yeah, because like it's like the guy who comes to the party with his guitar. Okay, we get it. You can play guitar. Like here's the thing, I'm not a hater. If you can play and you're good and you can sing, cool. But like, this is a party. If it was like an album release party and you were the artist, cool. Have a guitar there. Maybe you're gonna do a live show, but just random guy brought a guitar to the party. So like, you basically made it a point to try to take over the party. That's what you're doing with your guitar. Is you make it a point to be the center of attention. And that's the same thing too with like fucking people who bring like cards to do card tricks. You just made it a point to try to be the center of attention. I hate it. Hate it.
But when you do a little move like that, when you're infiltrating a party with your mentor / pretend butler, I'm all for it.
Charming.
So charming.
Charming. That's just cool.
So good.
And that's the thing too. Like, he was so damn charming. He dances with the guy's daughter, which embarrasses him, and he still gets invited to the secret taking over the country meeting. Yeah. Like, because you remember after that dance, which was so hot. I don't care what anybody says. That dance scene is
sexy tango. I wrote down sexy tango time.
I don't know if I was more attracted to Catherine or Antonio in that scene. I don't know. I'm still confused.
Yeah.
That dance scene. I'm like, I don't know who's sexier. Because also too, their chemistry between each other, Catherine Zeta-Jones and Antonio Banderas. You couldn't convince me that they didn't want to or did not fuck. I'm sorry. This is the way they were too damn hot together. Nobody is that hot together if they either didn't want to or did. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because like even when they after the fight scene, I don't know. Maybe this is just because like I know, like, but I've always been told like if you got to do a kissing scene, the polite, professional way to do it is you always do closed mouth, just on the lips, and like you kind of make it look like you're making out, but you never open mouth kiss.
Right.
Usually, if you open mouth kiss, there's on a production that's usually like it's a kind of a way of letting somebody know that you're attracted to them. And if you watch right after they have the sword fight scene, before he kisses her and runs out, immediately open mouth. They went straight in.
I didn't catch
they go straight in for the open mouth kiss. There was no like lips touching. It was just bow open in there. I'm like, they fucked, yo.
But was he married? Was he married to Melody Griffith at the time? You're like, Elizabeth, that doesn't matter.
I'm sorry. Did we not just have Jada Pinkett Smith in an entanglement with August Alsina?
They were married in '98.
That's all I'm saying. Listen. Okay. What? And the same thing. Mr. and Mrs. Smith. You know what I'm saying? Angelina and Brad were not married at that time, but they definitely got it in, and the evidence was there after
Well, sometimes people just have good chemistry, though.
I don't.
You're like, not that good.
Because even that chemistry, like if you ever watched like after Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot and Chris Pine's energy in interviews, I'm pretty sure they smashed. If not, they wanted to. So I'm not saying that Catherine Zeta and Antonio Banderas got down,
but they wanted to.
But at the very least, they wanted to.
Yeah.
Because that chemistry was, I mean, as far as, because like here's the thing, it's very rare that you see a scene that hot without nudity, and there was no nudity in these scenes, and it was still like, oh shit! Whew,
like, oh my!
Oh my! Don't you know?
Oh jeez!
Oh jeez! It's getting steamy in here, don't you know?
Yeah.
So that's my opinion, though. How do you feel? You think possibly? Think it's possible?
Maybe I will say I think they wanted to but didn't.
Okay.
But I feel like that's a lot of actor situations, like, or maybe every actor's cheating on everybody all the time. I don't know. I don't want to put that on the profession. But it's
not unheard of, right?
Yeah, but it's it's intense. No, that and their sword fight was really fun. I remember seeing the ads where the dress falls off, though, like all the time.
Yes.
They like played that nonstop. Maybe that's what I remember. I think my parents were like, "Quit playing this commercial. It's boring."
Oh yeah, man. Because this was 1998. This is when movies had big ad campaigns.
Yeah.
Had toys and all the fast food restaurants and you could buy collector's items at the fast food restaurants, or like even had toys in like the stores and everything. Like there's a big campaign push. So yeah, I remember seeing that campaign. And that was always that scene where he like cuts with her shoulder piece off and she's like and then like or the scene where like he finally undresses her and like pulls the hat away and she's like
and her hair's covering her BBs.
Her BBs.
Although I did make a note when she first got off the boat, I was like, woof, those extensions are bad. They're not.
Were they trash?
They didn't look good. They didn't blend really well. They were noticeable because I knew she had like long hair at the time,
right?
But also, but not like that long. And you like everybody's wearing extensions 90% of the time in Hollywood anyway. So that's not that shocking. But these just did not look great. They were.
I mean, yeah. Now that I'm thinking back on it, her hair did look like no shit, like a weave, like you could tell.
Straggly,
like little hair action in there.
the real hair probably stops somewhere around the shoulder, and then they gotta get the fake hair though to get it back to like her mid back / above her butt.
Oh yeah, especially the scene where like he takes the hat away and she's like naked and that's covering. I was like, oh yeah.
That for sure.
The real hair stops and then the extensions to covers the rest.
I don't think any very few ladies' hair is truly thick enough to hang in front of your boobs and keep it covered.
I know there's like a few. There's like a few Polynesian cultures where there's hair like that, but like I don't think
it's few and far between.
Yeah, nobody in America is probably rocking that.
No.
Unless they grew up on like a hippie commune or something like that, maybe. His hair falls out when it decides to. You don't cut it. I've heard that before.
Really? Oh,
yes, I heard that before from somebody. Like, hey, we don't cut our son's hair. It falls out when it wants to.
I think little boys with long hair could be so cute, and
it's fine. I'm not saying you have to cut it. Just that idea behind it. It's like, just say you didn't want to cut it. That's all. Like, don't make it we just let it do what it does. Like, stop it.
So I want to talk about Anthony Hopkins again.
Go for it. Yes.
For context, because he was 61 when this came out.
Shut up. Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
Damn. How old is this man? Is he like 99
years
old?
He is immortal.
I think he is, because he literally looks basically the same as he did in this movie, which was over 20 years ago.
Yeah. So I wrote Anthony Hopkins was Liam Neeson before Liam Neeson.
Hilarious. He was though, but you could tell his age. He
doesn't move a lot.
He doesn't move a lot, but you can also tell his age. It's like little things. I noticed it because here's why. I didn't realize he was that old. I thought he was like in his like mid 50s, maybe, or early 50s. I didn't know he was 61. That's crazy. But you can always tell an actor's age by the action that they do themselves. Like when he infiltrated the hacienda and he like handed the tray to the guys and he was like, hold this, and he punches. You can tell that was like a very old man punch. It was like the same. I don't know if you ever seen The Irishman.
Yes, I was just gonna say The Irishman, where they're like, these men are in their 50s and they're sitting on a bed and then they go to get up and they're like,
That's the scene that's also, but the scene that I really saw, it was like I almost felt bad, and I was like, oh no, because like, De Niro's up there in age.
Oh yeah.
And there's a scene where he has to like beat up somebody, and like he's kicking them while they're on the ground, and he has that old man like balance hand up, I was like, oh no, De Niro's old now. That's right. He's like 70 something, so it makes sense. But damn it.
Well, the other interesting thing though in the trivia was he almost didn't do this because I guess he had really bad back pain. I don't know what from some previous injury or something, and so he wasn't going to do it. And then he got some kind of like cool laser back surgery apparently, and then felt great and was like, okay, sure, I'll be Zorro. So I'm sure there's still a lot of stuntman need in there for
sure
your 60-year-old Oscar-winning actor that you're probably not going to climb out of a grave.
Now I kind of take back what I said about the accent thing, because if I was 61, I'd be like, fuck y'all, I ain't doing no accent. I'm Anthony Hopkins. What's good? Like, if you want me in your movie, I'm going to be me, and you guys will shoot around it. You figure it the fuck out. I'm not going to do accents. Fuck that.
It's like when I saw he was in the Wolfman movie with Benicio del Toro. Spoiler alert for that movie, but don't worry about it. He's also a werewolf, and so at the end they both turn to werewolves and fight. And the movie was not good enough to keep me from not sitting there thinking at the end going, they didn't make him like get in the werewolf get up, right? I was like, this man's in his like 70s at this point.
At this point, yeah.
They probably like they're doing a full face cast on a 70-something-year-old actor to make him look like no way. And so then
I feel like
the entire ending, that's all I could think of.
Well, here's the thing with Hollywood, they'll fucking try. So you gotta set boundaries. Like, they probably came to him and like, hey, we have this costume for you. He was like, go fuck yourself. He's 70.
Like, I was Hannibal fucking Lecter. You think you're gonna step to me and make me put on a fucking werewolf costume?
Right. He straight up came to them, was like, you see that computer? CGI, bitch, get out.
Yeah, that's me now.
I'm not gonna sit in a chair for 6 hours to do like this
werewolf
on camera just so you do close-ups and then CGI the rest. You can CGI the whole fucking scene. Fuck y'all.
But he did some fighting, although there's like two old dudes fighting at the end, basically, when you really think about it. Because I don't know how old the other actor is, but I
think Stuart Wilson was in his 50s as well.
Probably in his 50s as well. So they're it's old man fight. Yeah. I also wrote down Elena and my two dads. She lost two dads in one day. What a bummer. What a rough time that is.
Here's the thing. And they killed each other. They killed
each other. Talk about needing therapy. My God.
Elena's, but that's the crazy thing about like kids' films and stuff like that. It's like truly she would have PTSD, but like after the whole mining, the mine debacle, the final scene, you just see her. She's just a happy mom.
A year later, she's
stories
like
to her little kids. It's like what?
Like you think she would be intensely afraid of like fatherhood because she watched the two father figures in her life die in front of her, basically.
But it's also, I feel like it's also too like,
but it's fine.
It kind of is fine because for that time period, there was people didn't know about no PTSD. You just move the fuck on with your life. You lose two dads and you go and be a wife. That's what you do. Yep. You don't dwell on that.
Just keep on trucking. Just keep on trucking. Everything is fine.
Well, they actually cover a little bit of that kind of situation in the next movie. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's the Legend of Zorro, and they have a son, and he's part of it. It's kind of like, you ever seen The Mummy Returns?
Oh yeah.
It's basically that, but Western with Zorro.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But it's good though. It's not as good as the first movie. It's not as fun. It's not as entertaining. But like,
is it maybe not worth an episode? Probably.
Nah, it ain't worth. To me, it ain't worth. I mean, watch it on your own if you want to. So audience at home, watch it. But we ain't gonna cover it.
We're not taking that time.
It's not as good. It's not as fun. The thing is too, because like even when this movie, there was still like kind of a maturity element to it. So they kind of it makes the movie, at least to me, better to watch as an adult. The second movie is strictly for kids. They went straight to kids with that one. Like, it's super cheesy, super corny. The action is like hella flimsy. Like you can tell that whomever made this movie, they were just trying to collect a little money off the success of the last movie. That's really all it was.
And there was a big gap between Mask of Zorro and Legend of Zorro. There was like a several year gap, right?
Yeah.
Which is interesting because you would think they would be like, let's crank out another one. And
they probably, I mean, you know how Hollywood is. They probably already had a script already ready to go, but there's probably a bunch of people who didn't want to do it because they probably like the execs came from up high and it's like, hey, we got to make this more kid friendly. And if you got a director like Robert Rodriguez saying I want to make it gruesome, and they're saying no, and they brought it to like a PG-13. Now you're saying you want it to be PG? Nobody want to fuck with that. You know what I'm saying? That ain't fun. PG movies are never fun. Well, except for Pixar. But even Pixar, they scrape the line. Some of their shit is pretty immature. I just watched In and Out recently.
Oh, Inside Out, yeah.
Oh, Inside Out, man.
Yeah,
that's not a kid movie. I don't care what you say. Nope. That is not a kid's movie.
I was a grown woman bawling her eyes out in the theater. I was like, life is so fucking hard.
When the imaginary friend disappeared,
oh god,
I died. I was like, I watched it on Christmas Day. I was like,
oh no.
I was talking to my friend. I was like, why'd you make me watch this?
Oh no, what a terrible Christmas Day choice. Oh god.
It was counterbalanced. It was like Wonder Woman. Then I watched Soul. Then I watched In and Out. It was a good balance. It was a good range of emotions. It was almost cathartic.
Fair enough. But I was gonna say the maturity thing is interesting because it takes a minute to get to Antonio Banderas, who's your lead. You get all the backstory with I keep messing Don De La Vega, and so you get like a whole arc with his situation before you ever get to young Zorro there, which is interesting because I feel like things get rushed now more, or like you don't get all, or that you get that depth and some clunky exposition. This was like, I really enjoyed this. I made this note too. This was like very classical Hollywood filmmaking with things are set up here and paid off here. And I got in an argument with somebody one time because I said the same thing about The Mummy. And they're like, how is that classical Hollywood filmmaking? And I was like, I don't mean in the artistic, like high art, breaking rules sense. I was like, this follows, you set up, in Zorro, in same thing in The Mummy, they set up like a certain move somebody does or something like that. It comes back at the end. Like in this, De La Vega like pulls somebody aside, or he pulls a rope or something in the beginning and like saves Antonio Banderas' character and his brother. And then later in the movie, Antonio does the same thing for him. Saves him from like a gunshot in the moment. So it's like all those rhyming scenes are classical Hollywood filmmaking. And like I said, things are set up and paid off. There's nothing like dangling or like, oh, I don't know what happened, everybody's arc is paid off or the bad guys die. Which is like there's not really any
as far as I can tell, especially too for it being like a geared towards like a younger audience, there's no real plot holes. Like everything gets wrapped up. Like even like there's a good, and that's the thing too. You're also like you were saying earlier, like we don't ever get to see in movies, or we rarely, get to see, it's like a good solid A and a B story within the same movie. Usually it's like the A story is where they put in the effort, and the B story is kind of like, you don't really give a fuck about it at the end of the movie. But like this movie, you care about how they wrap their like they both have enough stakes in both their stories to where you want to see them succeed. And like you don't care for one more than the other. You care about them equally. Like you want to see them both get their revenge.
Both the Zorros have their revenge that they want, and then those, stories intersect nicely with like, well, you taught me to do seek revenge, but not this way, and now you're going to do it the way you told me not to, and bringing it all together. And then, of course, he doesn't really follow through with his revenge. Older Zorro. In the way he wanted, and he comes through at the end to help at the gold mine to save everybody and everything.
Well, you can see the maturity in him. Like, I mean, but that's the thing too. You got to think about that. The fact that he was able to hold himself back that like that is kind of amazing, because this has literally been on his mind for 20 goddamn years while he was rotting in a prison, and he still somehow managed to show restraint I mean, with the help of his daughter a little bit, because like
Yeah.
she did jump in the way and like kind of keep him from making that move.
Mhm.
But the fact that he didn't just say like fuck it and go in and just start murdering people is still pretty crazy to think about that. Because I'm sorry, if I spent 20 years thinking about killing one person, I'm killing that person.
Yeah.
That's it. There's nobody's gonna stop me. Nobody's gonna like hold me back. Nobody's gonna fucking tell me I'm wrong or anything. Like, no, this motherfucker literally destroyed my entire life, and that's all I had to think about while I was rotting in a cell for 20 years.
Yeah.
You gonna get this work, and in the worst way too, because like both these villains died pretty easily compared to what all the crimes that they had committed. The American general, Captain Love, or sorry, American Captain, Captain Love, he died way too simply for the fucked up shit he was doing.
For his really sadistic, creepy, like I keep trophies, like a total fucking serial killer. Woo!
This is supposed to be a kids movie. This motherfucker is keeping heads in
jars
and drinking from them.
I'm glad you confirmed that, because that went by and I meant to kind of rewind it and be like, wait, did he say he drank out of those? Like,
he did.
Whew, that's crazy.
As soon as he put it on the desk, he took us a cup full and was drinking from it while he was talking to Antonio Banderas' character. Yeah, motherfucker was here. And the thing, he was sick, right? Because I don't know if you caught this, but he was so sick. Even Don Raphael was kind of like, God damn, bro.
Like, dude.
Like, you remember when they were talking about, he was like, Santa Ana might be onto us. He's like, what should we do? And he was like, bury the mine, destroy all evidence. He was like, what about the people? He's like, leave nothing behind. And even Don Raphael was kind of like, oh, God damn, bro. You're evil. I mean, I'm evil, but you like evil.
I will say, for all we talked about, like, Europeans versus like Latinx people being cast. Genius to cast the whitest, blackest dude as the sadistic captain. Spot on choice.
He's a good actor too. He always plays kind of a scumbag. There's another character he plays in the show Entourage.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, he's a scumbag. He basically implies to one of the characters in the show that he is trying to and will fuck his girlfriend.
Ooh.
Yeah, like he's like, I don't know if this guy's a real asshole in real life. He's probably one of the nicest guys, but he can play an asshole.
I looked at it briefly. He's from Michigan. which I always love seeing Michigan people get cast and stuff.
Yeah. Give him his flowers. No, but that's the thing too, is like his character was for a kids movie, pretty fucked up, pretty evil, like.
Because when he slammed that jar down, I went, whoa, like I wasn't ready for that's not the vibe the movie had been putting out up until that point. I was like,
even smiled when he killed people. Yeah. He was like when he shot a three-finger Jack from the air, he was like, it's the second time I shot him in midair. Cool.
Yeah, he was like way too calm, and you're like, oh no, this guy's crazy.
he's like he didn't care that he killed somebody. In his mind, he was like, I'm a good shot. I caught him in midair again.
Yeah.
I always catch him in midair. I'm the shit. Yeah, dude was that's what I'm saying. Even Raphael was kind of like, God damn, bro. Like, take it easy. You like this war shit too much.
I'm trying to basically start a small dictatorship on land that is not mine. But you are taking it way too far.
Yeah. It's like, listen, you can't just kill I need constituents. I need somebody.
Captain Love, you're at an 11. I'm gonna need you back down to 7.
Oh, first of all, Captain Love was at 15. He was he passed 11 after the first time he met the Marier brothers. After that, he was at 15 the entire movie. Which is so funny that and that's the thing too. I was thinking about a person with this situation, a person like him, here's where you kind of go out of fantasy, excuse me, because you saw that at the party he was Captain Love was trying to hit on Elena, dance with her, stuff like that, and in real life, low key, that's probably the one that she would have to marry is Captain Love.
Oh, have to, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She would have to. Her dad would be like, nope, he helped me do all this, and he asked your hand, you're gonna marry him. That's what would truly happen. She wouldn't have ended up with the young Zorro,
the handsome thief.
Nah. They might have danced together at the party or some shit like that, but we know if it was real life, Captain Love would have got.
Yeah, because like up until real recently, marriages are all about, you know, securing lands and titles.
Yeah, securing lands, titles,
deals in some cases.
Yeah, like alliances and shit.
Alliances. Yeah, exactly.
That's really all it was about. Like what guy has the most land or most land?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, because even that thing too is like, even though he came in and pretended to be a fancy guy, at the end of the day, he would, if they had gotten married and he was still alive, he would have had to show for it, and he didn't really have any money.
Yeah.
Because De La Vega's money was taken when his whole.
Oh yeah. I was like, well, De La Vega, but didn't they end up at the end? They were in De La Vega's house, right? Like,
I guess they maybe rebuilt it.
Right, because it would have burned down.
Yeah.
In the beginning. Okay,
well, like it was made of stone, so maybe like the foundation.
But yeah, you know, you still got to clean up, and rebuild that.
That's the only thing I think it's like they probably came in, you know, brushed some walls down, put in some new furniture, and called
it. Give it the old deep clean.
Yeah, because houses back then was made of, most of it, the foundation was stone, so like, you know, and nobody's gonna go out there to like take it all the way down.
Yeah.
So it's probably just left there up on the hill, burnt. Nobody gave a fuck about it for 20 years, and he's like, cool. You know, I don't imagine that it's, you know, they had to go around looking for the deed or anything like that.
Yeah.
Sure nobody gave a fuck. They're like, oh, you want this burnt up house on the hill? Cool.
Plus, did she theoretically probably inherit?
Yeah.
When both dads died.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, Don Raphael and Don De La Vega's money. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. They were probably good. They're probably money wise.
Yeah, no, it's all the stunt scenes and stuff too are great. And I made a note because towards the end, when in all the mine action, there's a moment where he's like sliding down a hill on a shovel and it looks like he's snowboarding. I'm like, is that because snowboarding was like taking off at that time?
Well, what was that? It was like a good there was a what was that? You ever seen that movie Johnny Tsunami?
Yeah. Well, no, but I know what it is. Yeah.
That movie was really popular. Yeah, because this is.
I think snowboarding. This is like the beginning
all
of
those extreme sports was popular around this time, like snowboarding, inline skating, skateboarding, all that shit. Because remember, I don't know if you ever watched that show. Remember, Rocket Power was a huge show.
Right. I didn't watch it, but I asked too because my friend down the street growing up, he is now a professional snowboarder. He has competed in the Olympics, done X Games stuff, has like a whole literal career out of being a professional snowboarder.
That's cool as fuck.
Meanwhile, I tried to use their quarter pipe and got real scared and just ended up sliding down on my butt and was not athletically gifted that way.
I was always good on inline skates, but when it came to skateboards, I didn't take a chance. I was way more scared. Like I would try tricks and shit like that when I was inline skating, but somebody threw a board on me. I'm doing the basic I can stay on it move.
He and his brother were away into skateboarding and stuff and very kindly tried to teach me to ollie at the time, and I didn't get it and was not good at it. So I stuck to my rollerblades. What up?
Rollerblades. That's what I'm saying. I think that's why, like, I don't know if that had anything to influence that scene, which
I feel like it had. I feel like some executive was like, "My kid loves snowboarding. Put it in, sir. It's taking place in California in like the desert. I don't care. Figure it out."
Well, if you looked closely,
and they're like, "All right, Antonio, hop on this fucking shovel."
Right. He was probably like, you know, he came in that day and they're like, we got to shoot the
shovel day.
And he was like, shovel scene? He's like, yeah, we got to have you slide down a shovel.
A thing outside of mine.
Right.
It'll come together in the end.
They tried to put a little reality to it. Like he just put it on his feet and then he was holding the rope and but you could
the moves are there.
Right. So like they tried to make it look real at least, but you could tell it wasn't. Like even I don't know if you caught it, but like towards the end of the slide, you can literally see straps on the boots.
I missed it.
Where he was strapped to the shovel. Because like the way he was moving his legs as he was going down the hill.
Very snowboarder.
If he just went straight down, like just holding it and just leg straight, would have been more believable, but he was like weaving, like he was.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it caught my eye because I was like, oh.
That's where they lost it. It's like, dude, you were so close. You had the mechanics, and then you fucked it up trying to make it look cool.
But I also read he did like as many of his own stunts as possible, which is always cool.
I can see that because there was only a few. The only time I really didn't see his face was like I think I saw it 3 times. One, surprisingly, during the dance scene between him and Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Oh yeah.
At the beginning when they're doing like the crane shot, the overhead. Neither one of them are dancing.
I was gonna say I was watching that and there's a lot of cuts in that and I was like,
yeah,
they have chemistry, but are they? I know she went on to do Chicago and everything, but she also she like admitted to training her ass off to do that.
I'm sure they learned the whole dance and they probably shot it with them doing it. You know what I'm saying? But like
anything
I know
fancy.
At least the initial like when they first started the dance and it was the overhead shot. Yeah. It wasn't Antonio or Catherine in that. And then there was when he was fighting the henchman, like the night he was trying to steal the horse.
Yeah.
Fighting the henchman. There was a couple little shots of him where you can tell it was a stunt guy. And then in the last scene when he's escaping the hacienda to get out, there was a couple of shots of him. You could tell it was the when he got up on the table and was doing the fighting. That was the stunt man. But for the most part, it was mostly Antonio. I could tell. Yeah, it was, and that's respect. That was like you know before Tom Cruise was out here doing all his stunts like a crazy man.
Tom Cruise, if I can't die doing it, I don't want to do it.
I mean, that's pretty much the life he's living.
Yeah.
Which God also respect to him because he's like in his late 50s and he's
he's
I mean even Jackie Chan is like, hey, chill, bro. You don't gotta do that no more. You got people that'll do that for you. Like, Jackie Chan stopped doing that shit when he turned like 45, 50. He's like, look, I'm gonna do like 2 stunts. Y'all can handle the rest of that shit. I'm not. He's like,
please, I've broken so much in my body. I have to stop.
I think he's broken just about every bone.
Literally every body. Yeah.
That's my dude though. I still fucks with Jackie Chan.
I broke my arm falling off a horse and I was like, oh my God, never again.
Right. And you know, and that's the thing too, because Jackie Chan was crazy. He would break his arm, come back the next day in a cast, like, hey, just paint over it, make it look like a jacket. I'm gonna ride the horse again. Like that's an insane dude. Like he did that. He did that for like one of his early movies. He like broke his ankle. They put a cast on it. They put like a fake rubber boot on his foot to make it look like a shoe, and then just put the pants over it. He like did the stunt the next day. He's fucking crazy.
I love it.
Oh, okay. So let's talk about this. Okay. Always had a problem with this, even as a kid. Antonio Banderas, his brother, and his partner, Three Finger Jack, they're bandits. You telling me he didn't pick up any fighting skills while being a bandit? Even enough to get just like parry and get away, just like a little bit.
Swords are expensive.
You think? Okay. First of all, they robbed payloads, so they had the money. Secondly, everybody was rocking swords back then, basically.
But they ran out of money all the time. So
not the peasants, but like you tell me he couldn't have knocked out a soldier once at a time or something like that and got a weapon from him, or like traded some gold or silver for a weapon like that. That just
I think he had fighting skills in the sense of like inelegant scrapping and brawling.
Yeah,
but as like an actual like sword fighter, like properly matched with another sword fighter guy who would have all this training, like the Captain Love or Don Raphael or even Zorro, who have all these years of training or whatever. No, I don't think he would have picked up those skills.
No. I'm with that, like the proper training. I'm with that, but like. He didn't like when they have the little whimsical scene of like him trying to fight Anthony Hopkins while he's pretending to be Howell. No, that's always that like you're not good enough to fight him. I'll train you scene. Like he didn't stand any chance. Like I know he was drunk and shit like that, but like, bruh, you didn't get one hit. Like even
this like man half your age isn't late. But I think he was drunk. I think they were just really hammering home that he was drunk and not.
I don't know, because even because we were talking Pirates of the Caribbean. Even the lowest pirate on the ship got skills. They got sword fighting skills. You know what I'm saying? Like they can at least take that. Like whenever the British officers always attack their boats, they can at least kill one or two British officers before they get shot or stabbed by somebody else. Like, so you tell me the lowest person on a ship has more skills than a bandit who's been around for many years? I mean, I'm assuming he's at least in his mid-20s at this point. So I'm assuming he's probably been a bandit for most of his teens. You didn't pick up a little bit of sword skills just by accident? I mean, hell, I've learned karate by accident.
How do you learn karate by accident?
You watch enough kung fu movies, you're going to learn something, at least a block
or something. That's not real. That's like all moves for camera.
Yes, but I'm saying it's based in reality. You at least learn how to block a punch by accident. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
look, I've watched all of Cobra Kai, and I'm like, I want to do karate now.
I mean, listen, I'm just saying, like, I just don't believe that he would have that low level of skills, even as a brawler. Like, even as a brawler, if you get to fight somebody with some skill, you can hit them by accident.
Were they more into guns though? Was that more their thing? Because the brother had the gun that he killed himself with,
right?
Which was rough. But again, which reminds me, yeah, I was like, whoa, that's intense.
Oh yeah, you weren't ready for that one.
I wasn't ready for that either. Because again, like most of the vibe of the movie is like, look at him running around trying to get on that horse. Oh, so fun. Right. And then it's like, boom, like boom in the chest, and then like, I keep your brother's head in a fucking jar. Here it is.
Also, too, that's another thing too. Like, this is a kids movie. Not only is it a suicide, he watched him commit the suicide. Like, he saw it.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why we go back to what we were saying earlier. Like, the A and B story both had high stakes because, like, his daughter and his wife was killed, and all his life got taken away. And then Antonio Banderas had to basically watch his brother kill himself to not be taken by this psychopath that's wearing captain's colors. Like, it's intense. I'm sorry, go ahead. What were you saying?
Oh no, I was thinking to answer your skill question. Mm-hmm. This doesn't answer your skill question because I was like in Pirates of the Caribbean when Orlando Bloom and Johnny Depp fight for the first time. I was like, oh right, Orlando Bloom is good because he practiced all the time when he made all the swords. But I feel like Antonio Banderas' character and the brother relied more on guns. Yeah. And then which I thought was interesting at the end when he faces off with Captain Love. Captain Love throws down his gun, is like, yeah, let's sword fight. I'm like, whoa, I guess you really are into like the thrill of like the like psycho kill, because I'm like, I feel like you would have just shot him. I don't know.
Nah, that wouldn't have been good enough for him.
Yeah.
Because remember, like, I mean, listen, this guy puts heads in jars.
Yeah, he's all about the
just shoot him. That's way too. He would. I mean, if it was up to Captain Love, I'm pretty sure he would have if he was gonna kill him, he would probably want to do it slowly, like let the sword slide in slowly. Yeah, like while looking him in the eye, just
like making direct eye contact. Like,
yeah, that's his game. He's not about shooting in the head type shit. Because even the two interactions where they had with him before the final fight, when he was Zorro, he never ordered his men to shoot. He was always holding them back or putting their gun, put a hand on their guns to bring it down. Like he wanted to. I mean, if it came down to it, I'm pretty sure if Zorro would have threw down his sword and said, "Let's go barehanded," he probably would have been game.
Yeah.
He was that guy. That guy had issues. I would love to see a spin-off movie of just about his life, because I wonder what happened to him to make him that fucked up.
Yeah.
I get it, he's the crazy American, whatever, but
white men are nuts, man. That's all there is to it. White men are fucking crazy.
Jesus, dude, did you ever pick up masturbation? Why are you?
Sometimes there is no answers. White men are nuts. Yeah.
Oh, I also had a problem with, not a problem with, but just a slight thing. So the brother kills himself.
Mm-hmm.
Then he chops off the head, and then you see the necklace that Zorro gave them when they were kids fly off.
Yeah.
And then Antonio Banderas comes back later and picks it up. I just have a little bit, now that I'm older, I have a suspension. I have to.
Your suspension of disbelief.
Yeah. I'm that's pure silver. if I'm a soldier, I'm picking that shit up. All right, like listen, this is the time way before the Geneva Convention. Okay, because like I even in Iraq, I seen soldiers like take little trinkets. Okay. That they just wanted to have for later, and then technically they weren't supposed to do that because it's considered a war trophy. But that's what I'm saying. This is 1820s. You're a soldier, probably in basically what is Mexico, probably ain't making no kind of money. I would have reached down and been like, well, he ain't gonna use this. Doesn't even have a head. What is because like the captain didn't care. He just like put the head in a bag. Like he did.
Did it fly off though, and no one saw where it went? Maybe was what we're supposed to go with.
Nah, it didn't, because even when it felt like when they showed the close up of it like falling off, it didn't like get buried by the sand. It was a shiny silver with a big ass ruby in the middle of it, like necklace. Because remember too, when he goes later and he's at the bar,
right? He's gonna pawn it.
And he's like, "What about this?" Money. And the guy's like, "Oh, that's silver."
Yeah,
like his face lights up. So you telling me a soldier who ain't making no bread didn't see that necklace and was like, "I'm just gonna go ahead and put this in the old satchel. Nobody's gonna," you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they were like all freaked out by Captain Love, and they're like, "Dude, let's just go."
Bruh, at least the guy, because like remember, after he killed him and then cut his head off, he was like, he got back on his horse, was like, put the head in the bag. Like, you tell me the guy who put the head in the bag didn't at least think about? Like, if I gotta put a dead head, if I gotta put somebody's head in the bag, I'm still in the silver. But
if you steal it and then your psycho captain catches you with it, then you're probably facing like a worse consequence than.
I don't think so. He killed a guy with no remorse, chopped his head off like it was,
That's what I'm saying though. If you're like the soldier who's like, I got the head in the bag, they're like, oh, that necklace is there. I'm like, oh, but if he catches me with that, he's gonna like skin me and like make me watch at the same time somehow. And like make my family watch. Fuck it. I'm not taking that thing. Fuck it.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That is a good point. That's true. Because like, even though he wouldn't care, but like I feel like this guy just needs any excuse.
Yeah.
Do some
you sneeze around him wrong, and he's
right.
Like,
or just sneeze in his direction.
Yeah.
He's probably just like, oh, you sneeze on me, you get to die.
Yeah. That's time true. To die.
That's a good point.
Time to get buried alive in a mine.
That's a good point. Yeah, because fear is definitely a motivator not to do any kind of wrongdoings, and that guy seems like he needed the smallest excuse.
Yeah.
Like if you showed up late to formation, he's like, you get to be executed. Sorry.
He's like, noted for later, and you're like, oh, fuck.
Woo! Like that dude was like, that's what I'm saying. When you out villain the villain, you doing something, because he out villain the villain. He was bad. Now I get it now. Okay, I'll take that back because yeah. Okay, also here's my I also this line which I thought was funny. They go, so when they towards the end of the movie when De La Vega and Don Rafael like meet for the first time after he realizes that he's who he is, and he's like, oh, I've been thinking about this day for 20 years, and he's like, oh, I haven't given you a second thought. It's like, you sure about that guy? Because I'm pretty sure you came to the prison that he was in 20 years later to see if he was still alive. So you at least gave him a second thought.
He's just lying in that moment.
Yeah, no. But I was like, but you gave him a second thought because you came in. Because I was wondering, like, is this an annual trip, or he was just coming, since he was like just coming back to California, he just wanted to check and see if he was alive?
That's a good question.
You know what I mean? Because they don't really specify if he's doing this all the time. And then like right after he visits the prison, that's when they show up on the shores of California. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, was he just checking in on him? Like, hey, old friend, remember when I killed your wife? Sorry.
I killed your wife and stole your child. Then fucked off to Spain for 20 years.
Right.
Just checking in. How you doing? You alive? Are you dead? How you feeling? Okay.
Well, that's the funny thing too, is like him saying that. It's like, he was there in the prison when you came by to visit him. So it's kind of hard to say that you didn't give him a second thought when you were clearly thinking about him when you came to see if he was dead or alive.
Yeah.
He was on your mind. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you had some fear of maybe if he was still alive, there's a chance he could come back and fuck with your shit.
Yeah. Nah, that's all intimidation and whatnot. I did like in the prison though when we got the I am Spartacus moment with everybody yelling, I am Zorro. Always like a good I am Spartacus moment. I'm here for it. Always makes me smile.
Yeah, when I watch that scene, it's always like to me it reminds me. I mean, you've seen many of scenes like that. It's always in prison, but also it reminded me of you ever seen that movie Life with Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence? There's a scene like that. So it's set in the 40s, and they get sent to a prison, and like one of the prison inmates, like the warden lives on the property, and one of the prisoners gets into a relationship with this white woman, and they end up having a kid. And so the warden like brings the baby out and tries to like compare faces, and all the men step up like, I'm the dad, I'm the dad, I'm the dad. And then like, you know, the warden just gets pissed off and runs away, and everybody's cheering and shit like that. I'm like, yeah, we've seen that before. But it's fine. It's whatever, you know. It's just another stepping stone to get to like the next movie, you know what I mean? Like I guess it's to show that like you know, he didn't keep to himself while he was in prison. He obviously made friends. You know what I mean? And I'm assuming they wouldn't have stepped up that hard for him if they didn't know that he was Zorro. So I'm assuming that they knew that he was Zorro.
Because as far as they're concerned, Zorro's like the good guy, and he's a man of the people. Yeah, you know, trying to keep the people from being screwed over. Yeah, Robin Hood type, because he's secretly, you know, well, because Robin Hood was like a lord, you know, so he's doing it for the people. Right. He's like, man, the people are getting fucked over pretty hard. I'm here to help.
Right. That's a good point. I also wrote down that I think Zorro's superpower is luck, blind luck.
I mean, isn't every like action hero's superpower luck?
Especially Western action hero, because like none of the soldiers could. That always upsets me about like Star Wars is different because like that's kind of been the funny thing. Like stormtroopers can't aim. Like they have to keep doing that because people love that about Star Wars. But like it always pissed me off because like when you see like a military movie or people who are like if you're not the main character, somehow, even though you have all this training, you're terrible at being a soldier. Like it's called... nobody can aim, nobody can hit, nobody knows how to look down their sights. I'm like, dude, the lowest person in the Marine Corps can at least take down a target or two. Like that ain't, you know, like not only special, it's not like it's just special forces that can hit their target. Because if that were the case, America would fall behind in a lot of wars. Like we wouldn't be the superpower.
It's called plot armor, and that is, and I'm not the originator of that term at all. But it's what it is when you can't kill your main character, even though every, you know.
And I didn't want
situation would indicate. Well, actually, that's a bad. You're right. That's bad. Not accurate, because plot armor especially applies to like more sprawling epics where there's like a lot of characters, and like theoretically a character probably should have been killed by a certain point, but they're still around. Like everyone was making fun of Game of Thrones with Jon Snow, where like he dies in whichever season, but then he comes back to life or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like it's just unkillable from there on out. Pretty even much. Though like we're like, especially for a show that was like not realistic, obviously by any stretch, but like sort of going for a sense of realism,
some reality,
with the brutality of everything, for him to like constantly
after
survive.
He came back from the dead, he didn't even get so much as a cut in a battle. Like he was just like, get off me, I'm invincible.
But yeah, I feel like every action, you know, that's not why I don't always go to action movies or don't necessarily get into them, but like, yeah, of course they're not gonna get hit. I'm trying to think of. I mean, probably Die Hard's maybe the closest to where like he isn't so lucky and like bad shit keeps happening, but he does not immediately bounce back from it.
Well, he gets. I mean, even in Die Hard, that's probably one of the better movies where they don't do that.
Yeah.
That's a great point that you brought up, because like he's walking around like bloody feet and shit like that. Yeah, he gets pretty beat up during that entire movie. Yeah, but there are a few points where like he's getting shot at by bad guys and like somehow
they don't hit him,
like even a ricochet, because like he was like running between two metal fucking towers and like a ricochet to get you, bro. They're shooting a machine gun at you, but for the most part, they do.
No, you can't hurt your hero. It's just not what you do.
Even that's what I'm saying. Like even not even the shooting scenes. Like when he's going to try to steal the horse, and he ends up like the horse runs him into the I guess the break room of the guard.
Yeah, whatever that thing was.
they were just like playing cards.
Really clear on what
like,
that building was.
I'm gonna say the break room.
Yeah.
When he runs in there, like he just gets lucky. Like literally, the horse kicks two guys that are about to shoot him by blind luck. He didn't like tug on the horse or nothing. The horse just like happens to freak out.
And it was like breaking with its like front hooves. It was like breaking those bunk beds. Like. Very clearly and directly, which I thought was really weird but kind of fun.
He was his partner, like they.
Yeah,
he was like.
I noted that horse was a good actor because they had it like react to stuff and like whinny at the right time, and it was really fun.
It really was because he was like, "You get to be more horse." He was like, "Psych." He's like, "Nah, I'm not gonna be a horse."
Like, I'm no one's horse. Excuse me.
That is true. Well, because that was also that. Like I think the scene where they first show the horse and he like runs through the market and destroys all the shit.
Yeah.
I was like, did that scene really need to be like? You literally could have cut from him being in the cave and then like him to the scene where he's putting on the mask to go and ride the horse like that. We didn't need to see him like be wild. Like
you did because you needed to know why the horse never quite worked with him up until the very end. You needed to know that the horse was wacky like that, and also the mask he got was this. There was like a scarf around the horse's foot that's what he took, and that was the first mask. Yeah.
God bless you in your fresh eyes watching. I have seen this movie countless times and never noticed that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the horse goes crazy in the market and he calms it and then looks down and there's like the scarf is wrapped around. I don't know. It wasn't like from an injury or anything. It just like was caught on the horse's leg.
Yeah, from running
around, and and then that's what he takes, and that's what he makes his first mask out of.
Fuck. I know how you felt when I discovered H. John Benjamin and like that. I've seen this movie at least 10 times, if not more, and I never noticed that ever. That's crazy. Okay, now you do need the scene. Fuck it, I take that. I take it all back. Just for that little piece of knowledge alone, that's what the bandana he uses in the first Zorro outing.
Mm-hmm. It's a little something that ties him to the horse, and it's a little.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is 1998, but I want you to picture it be this movie coming out now.
Mm-hmm.
Is Helena a good character of strong feminism or a bad character of strong feminism, or nothing, or not even good for like feminist, like independentness of being a woman, like feminism?
I kind of made the note that it's like a thankless role, and I mean, yes and no. That role still exists. It's still a thing. I was just talking to somebody about Marvel movies the other day, and they put like Rachel McAdams and Doctor Strange. She had nothing. She's a great actress. She had nothing to do.
Nothing to do.
And like, is it so? No, I wouldn't say she's a strong character in the sense of like, interesting, well-rounded. She's well acted enough. Like I really like the scene with her and Anthony Hopkins when he's like getting a good look at her for the first time. And they're talking about her mom and everything. It's just like it's well done. Yeah. And you don't really get to know her in that scene though. Like, you kind of there's no other women for her to talk to. Oh, I guess except for the lady in the market who's her nanny. But that's like literally the only other female character.
Her than the daughter.
Other than the daughter and the wife that gets murdered in the first 5 minutes, which that's a whole problem unto itself. Is wives getting killed. Looking at you, Christopher Nolan.
Yeah. That was quicker than the Bambi killing, man. They got the mom out there real quick. That's why I thought this was Disney. See, mom died at the beginning. That's Disney. That's Pixar, Disney all over it.
Yeah. So it also falls into the like she's feisty and knows the sword fighting, therefore she is like a bold feminist character, but not really, because she's all hung up on Zorro, and there's a scene at the dinner table where she expresses her opinions about like the whole situation. I think with Zorro in general. And then her dad just goes, political opinions of women, am I right? Anyway, boys, let's go fuck up California. Like, yeah, it's all those scenes that you would think we would be past like 20 years on. But in fact, it's like, there's still movies that do that where it's like, I'm a modern female character in this period film, but like it's just silly. Like what did I say?
She said it's just silly.
Yeah, because it's like, well, she is like, she must be feminist progressive because she knows how to use a sword. No, not really, because again, she doesn't talk to any other women in the movie except for the nanny. Right. She's only talks to Zorro or her dad's or whoever, and we don't know like anything about her other than she's the stolen child of De La Vega. She grew up in Spain apparently, and she comes back and she likes Zorro. I don't know anything about her. Do you?
Well, I know that she likes. I know
flower.
She likes flowers. She likes a challenge.
Yeah.
She gets that. She like because she ran. When he was trying to escape, the second time.
Yeah.
When he was like full on Zorro, she like stepped in to try to
stop him.
But I mean, she wasn't really trying to stop him. You know what I'm saying? She was like saying no, no.
Also, not super feminist to have her clothes get shredded off by Zorro, and then stand there topless and tell her dad like he's vigorous. Which, I mean, lends credence to your, like, that was a sex scene, but not a sex scene comment from earlier.
She basically, I mean, low-key, she kind of was...
JBF, just been fucked. I mean...
Yeah. I'm using that for the rest of my life, JBF. I think that's the new slogan of the podcast, JBF. Oh, man. Hello, merch. I mean, she didn't, like, obviously they didn't have sex, but the way
it's all coded to tell us that.
Yeah, like the way she even like, she was like Zorro was like, she shows like her dad and Captain Love come in and she's half naked, covered up.
Yeah.
And he's like, what happened? She was like, Zorro was here. I fought him and he was very vigorous. It's like, I mean, low key, if I'm the dad, I'd be like, did you just fuck Zorro?
I'd be like, honey, did you just have sex with Zorro?
Yeah, like you just fucked Zorro, did you? Vigorous, because even I looked up vigorous because I never knew what vigorous meant. I thought it was just because the way they imply it in movies, I've only heard the word in movies or in TV, and it's usually with a sexual connotation. But it's not what vigorous is about. It's just about being like high-spirited, lots of energy, and like showing good physical strength. That's what
that's sex, baby.
Which I mean, you gotta be vigorous to be good at sex, and like she basically, I mean, let me tell you something. If my daughter if I come into the room and I see my daughter covering her breast and then telling me that the guy she just fought was vigorous, I'd be like, you a hoe.
No.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that, but I mean, but you know what I mean? She basically implied that like, hey, Zorro just fucked the shit out of me in the stable. Yeah. Like, take it in. And that's why I say that was not a sword fight scene. That was fucking. That was a sex scene.
Oh, totally. No, I agree with you.
That was 100% a sex scene.
Yeah.
Like the only thing that was missing was like a couple of nipples. That's about it.
And we almost got him.
We almost got
barely covering her boobies. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like we were saying that this is not, super feminist.
No,
yeah. But this is what people think is, and especially in '98 was like, she's a feminist character because she fights and she does speak out. I mean, to her credit, she also does very much help save the day at the end of the movie. She like is busting people out of the
The cages
at the mine when they're about to be blown up, and like only on the last one does Zorro come in and finish the like work for her. So like, yeah, that's cool and everything. Like that's not feminist, but like,
yeah, it was kind of interesting too the way that she responded to her dad in that scene after the sword fight, because like literally the scene before, she was like, her dad embarrassed her at the party, but basically was like, you dancing like a slut, and she walked, she was like, all hurt by that, and then that same night she's like, I just fucked Zorro, and it like none of that shit happened an hour before. Yeah, just like, go fuck yourself. Like, I do what I want.
Tell me who I can date, can't date. I'll fuck whatever masked bandit I want.
Yeah. Well, it was, man, and because it's that classic trope. Like when she first even sees Zorro, she's like,
I laughed that she was like so like there's a masked man in her courtyard skulking around like the family horses, and she's like, well, who are you, sir? And I was like, how are you so calm? He's clearly trying to steal shit. Like,
go, that's that. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, at least you see it in the movie. That typical like rich sheltered girls finally sees a bad boy that's not as uptight and repressed as her, and she's just like,
she is all into
Flash.
Yeah.
Splash. She listen.
You had to clean that saddle later.
Did you see the way she was looking at him when
that's
they
what was
first
so
met?
Funny.
He was wet. Okay.
There's no reason for her to be that way though, other than like, yeah, he's a hot dude in the mask, but like,
well, I don't know.
Clearly trying to steal your shit.
I don't know what age she's supposed to be playing.
20.
I think. Like 20, 21. Yeah. So
2021, yeah.
2021, she ain't been with nobody. She been around all these repressed dudes and
probably
like all these like upscale guys,
Catholic,
like
Spanish nuns.
Yeah,
I don't know.
She probably just like hormones are raging.
Yeah,
hormones are raging. She probably like, listen. At the end of the day, it really probably wasn't even Zorro that she was attracted to. She just was happy to see a man. Could have been anybody in
that courtyard.
Yeah, like any man that wasn't in like a press suit, she was probably all about. Just like
you're slightly rumpled.
He's a mystery, because she don't know anything about that life, that poor life, or nothing like that. So like any man of that coming from or any in that world is like attracted to her because she don't know what it's about, and it's new, it's mysterious, and so I mean, she saw Zorro and the floodgates open.
I did laugh I liked the confession scene too. I thought that was funny. Yeah. She's like, it's been 3 days. And he's like, how many sins can you commit in 3 days? And I wrote that down too. I was like, what are you doing? And then of course she's like, I was rude to my dad or whatever. I'm like, oh, what?
I dishonored my dad. Yeah.
Yeah. That's whatever. I know that's a commandment, but like, who cares?
I know. No, I get it. But
say ask your dad all you want. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. No, I get it, but I did love that. He was like, yeah, what kind of sins you committed in 3 days? Get out of here.
Yeah, his reaction was so funny. That's why he's so great in this movie, because he was like, what do you even mean?
Yeah, he's like, come back when you got real problems, bitch.
Yeah.
He's like, I ain't ate in 2 days. Get out of here. You come back when you got something like that going on.
He's like, my horse thievery attempt is going off the rails. Get the fuck out of here.
Dude. If I was doing confession and the priest said that to me, I'd be like, all right, you're right. I'm getting the fuck out of here. I'll say a couple Hail Marys for myself. And
I do love in movies when people like unload on priests, because like I've always wanted to do that and be like, you can't say anything until I'm done, and just like go through everything. I mean, that's probably what therapy is actually for, but I like the idea of just doing it to like one person where they can't see me for like an hour. And then just being like, bye.
You can't tell anybody about it per se.
You can't tell anyone.
I mean, you can. They can.
It's short of me telling you I committed a murder, which I have not.
But I'm saying I could have. I always also too, this is always kind of bothers me. Okay. When you see a hero, like, okay, look, specifically we're talking about Zorro. It always is weird to me when you see a hero like this. It's like trying to fight, the government or whatever that's like taking over, whatever's causing tyranny to the people. But they always have a family, and that family always gets them fucked. Like they always like it's always a weak spot for them. So I'm always trying to figure out like when you just if you're a person who decided you're gonna go and like fight crime, why would you want a family?
I mean,
I never get that. That's always a sore spot. They always like 9 times out of 10. It's like okay, I get like, if you have family like within the like like the Avengers, they have each other and their family and stuff like that. But like here's the thing: if my friend is Thor, I'm not worried about him dying and all that. You know what I mean? I'm able to go out and do what I need to do, like fight bad guys, knowing that Thor probably is okay. But like having like with Spider-Man having Mary Jane can't fight. She ain't got no skills.
Well, that's where the murdered wife trope comes in a lot of the time. It's to give your hero empathy, or give you empathy for your hero,
right?
And add a layer of trauma that will drive him to revenge or whatever the plot is. Sure. Obviously, in this case, it's revenge for his wife, avenging his wife's death. And yeah, it's always to humanize your hero so that theoretically he's not like an unstoppable, like cold-blooded Superman, with like no no human. You have to give your hero a human connection, otherwise you can't relate to them. There's no stakes to the story.
Sure, okay, we're talking story-wise, but I mean, okay. As far as the movies go, I get why you do that in a movie, but I mean, like, it just almost it's never made sense to me to like because here's the thing, to me, if you've already decided, I mean, I guess unless you're just like a narcissistic asshole, but like if you've already just made the decision that you're gonna be a man of the people and fight for the people, then you already have everything. You don't need a family. Like a family is always low key. I'm not trying to be mean, but like a burden, like, you know what I mean? Because you're always worried about that. Like if somebody finds out you have, like, I can get, if he was like, okay, so like the night, like that when we first see Zorro, like his last time being Zorro, I could see you starting a family after that. Like when you're like, I'm done with it. And you like if he, or started a family after he met, young Antonio Banderas, was like, hey, I'm gonna teach you to be Zorro. You can be Zorro. You know what I mean? Like, that's when you have a family. You don't do it while you're being a hero. That's just too much baggage.
You know I mean, well, that's
it's like when you have. It's like, would you? Okay, if this was a zombie apocalypse, would you have a kid?
No, but I mean,
exactly.
Tell that to
or the Quiet Place. The Quiet Place. A little kid. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
But she must have been pregnant when it all started, right? Or maybe not. But also, I mean, condoms still exist, but whatever. That movie was really fun to watch in the moment, and then you walk out and you're like, I have 8 million questions about how any of that worked.
Well, I mean,
that's a whole other thing.
But that's what I'm saying is like the stakes. I get that you're raising the stakes in movies, but it's like
it's also like just
Captain America ain't got no wife and kids, and he was still able to be Captain America and fight Thanos and all that other shit and do what he had to do. Like
he didn't have a wife
with
and
his own super friends,
but he had girlfriends. Peggy was like a love interest, and it's
but here's the thing: the difference between Peggy and this situation was like Peggy was never on the front line.
Right.
She was never out there trying to do this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like low key, Zorro's wife was kind of on the front line because every time he came home, like you could have led the bad guys to his house. So you kind of
that's always the risk you run as the hero, but theoretically you don't. I would argue Peggy's more on the front line as an officer in World War II. No, it's like I said, there is families, especially a wife character back home for your hero, are always there either to provide conflict. Usually in a lot of stories she's telling him not to be a man of the people, you need to be here with your family, which yes is partially true, but because he's our hero, he also has to balance both. That's always the issue, is like, how do I help people but also be with my family? That's a conflict, a story conflict that a well that people go to a million times over. Like I said, a lot of times they're just collateral damage. They get killed. It's called fridging. Have you ever heard of fridging?
No.
It comes from, I forget which comic book. I think it's Green Lantern. I don't remember. But basically the hero comes home and his dead wife has been stuffed in the fridge.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know, right? To like break him of whatever, you know, him not wanting to be a hero, a lot of the times the hero's family is killed off so that he can go do more
That
work
makes
too.
more sense to me. Like the Punisher's family killed,
Yeah.
he becomes the Punisher. That makes sense. Like because he wasn't trying to be a hero. He was just a Marine, and he just happened. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't that had nothing to do with him being a hero. Like he didn't like get out of the Marines and say, "Hey, I'm gonna go fight crime," while having a family.
Yeah.
His family was killed. And then he decided to go and make crime or fight crime. Excuse me. So that's why I never get when you see these people like these heroes or whatever with family first, and then they keep on being a hero. Like I feel
that's
like
because they're
family, you're done being a hero. Like you gotta.
But that's because they are true men, and they know that not only are they should they serve their family, they have to serve the people somehow. That's the melodramatic.
Yeah. But at the same token, how you being? There's no way you can be a good father and be Zorro at the same time. There's no way. There's no way.
Isn't that the plot of the second one? I was reading up on it last.
Yeah, night. Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. It's like him like struggling with being a father and trying to be Zorro at the same time. And of course, the son gets kidnapped, and he has to like Captain Zeta and Antonio Banderas have to go and get him. See, that's what I'm saying. Why you got a family when you being Zorro? You can't be Zorro and have a family. Like you got to pick.
But I mean, could you argue like why would any like a firefighter have a family? This is not fair.
Yes, but that is a good point. Like, well, that's
but wait, are you talking more in fiction or you know
in fiction? Because like, okay, yes, like cops or firefighters shit like that. Like, yes, obviously they go out every day and they put their lives in danger and they have families and shit like that. But it's different because you're not like it's not like you're John McClane in every situation. Like every time Zorro is out, it's a John McClane level situation. You got a big villain, big boss that you're trying to take down. And if you're trying to take down a big boss every single time and you got family, like these bosses clearly like Don Raphael clearly has connections because he figured out who the fuck Zorro was, figured out he was like a guy of society and privilege and all this other shit. Like, so why would you it's like almost selfish that you would go out putting your family at risks every single time, because it's not just like he's not going out and catching little bandits who are stealing horses. He's going out and taking on the big fish. He's taking on a big government official who has literally an army behind him.
It's selfish, but it's the right thing to do for the people.
And it's the right thing to do for the people, right thing to do, but the wrong thing to do for your own people.
I think it's also for a lot of times, especially for male audience members who maybe do have families, is they can relate to be like, these wife and kids are holding me back from being the hero I was always meant to be. Or like they don't appreciate.
Some guy watching this movie's like, I could be Zorro.
I could be Zorro. I could be whoever. You know,
ball and chain and her little chainettes. But
that I help have created, except she totally trapped me into doing all that malarkey. No, it's like I said, it's to humanize them by giving them stakes, because otherwise, if a man just goes out and like fights crime or fights for the people, there's no personal stakes for him. Is the issue. If he dies, he dies, and you're like maybe sad about it.
There always has to be a love interest or something
story-wise, but you're like, well, he was a good dude, but what a bummer. The end,
Yeah, but
if you add these human elements,
plenty of movies where the guy has been. No, that's true. No, they always have a love interest.
Always.
Yeah, because I was like, what about Waterworld? But he ends up kind of having a love interest. Like, and it's not always like it's not always a romantic love either. It's like. It's usually like the loner guy ends up like saving the kid, and now like the kid becomes important to him. So like now they have to
like Logan or something like that.
Yeah, Logan. Or if you ever seen, there's this old movie called Blind Fury. You ever seen that?
No.
Oh man, we gotta watch that. It's basically the plot of it is basically like a blind man gets blinded in Vietnam. He goes to his village. They teach him how to do like sword fighting as the blind man, and then like. He goes to visit a friend, and his friend is like mixed up with these criminals making some kind of like synthetic drug, and then they kill his wife and kids. So he takes on the kid to like bring him to his dad, and like he kills bad guys throughout the movie. It's very 80s, very simple plot. Good guy, killed bad guy, the end. But it's so fun. If you like Rutger Hauer,
I do love Rutger Hauer. Yeah,
he's good.
Great.
That's my man. He's the blind samurai, as they call him.
Oh, really? Oh, this is the white guy who masters karate.
Yeah,
in Vietnam.
Yes.
But again, the whitest dude possible.
Yes.
Tallest, blondest, bluest-eyed person imaginable. Oh my god.
Well, because
I do love Rutger Hauer. I'm not.
Yeah, I do too.
But you know what great. I mean.
Yeah, no. But you know that was the thing in the 80s. Once Karate Kid came out, all kinds of white boys was learning karate for every movie. That was like the plot of every action movie. It's like white guy masters the art of Asian, martial arts, and then goes
like
to
white children were mastering it, like Three Ninjas. Come on,
Three Ninjas.
At least
Three Ninjas though. I fucks with these ninjas hard though. I do.
Did you ever see Surf Ninjas?
Fuck yeah, I see Surf Ninjas.
At least that was like a native Hawaiian guy, or
like they were Asian descent.
Of Asian descent.
Yeah.
I can't think of that actor's name, and I don't. Jason Scott Lee, right?
No. It was
No. Oh, I have him mixed up.
Something.
I'm gonna cut that out.
Eddie. No, not. Oh.
Hang on, I'm looking it up now. Surf Ninjas.
Something Junior.
Ernie Reyes Jr. Okay, my bad.
See, I knew it was like something. It's like one of those three. It's like I knew it wasn't Freddie Prinze Jr., but I knew it was something Junior.
Okay, yeah, he's Filipino. Sorry, I got him confused with Jason Scott Lee.
He's Asian too.
We're gonna cut that out so I look like not.
Oh, it's fine. Like you're good. You're good. You weren't trying to be disrespectful about it.
No, yeah. I was trying.
I mean, honestly, low key, if you look at them side to side, like they kind of look similar. Yeah. So like you could easily and plus they basically like they're both their careers are like kind of the same wavelength of movies.
Oh really?
So, yeah. Like honestly, like Surf Ninjas, Ninja Turtles. Then you got fucking Jason Scott Lee. He did Bruce Lee story, and then he was in Soldier, which is basically like two of the same movies. It's totally easy for you to mix it up. Don't even trip. I only know that because I'm an action fiend, so I know.
Yeah. Clearly, I'm like, what was the other? What's the one with Jonathan Brandis and Sidekicks? Is that what I'm thinking of? See, my brother.
Yes, another white guy learns the art of
because Chuck Norris knows karate, right? Chuck Norris is in that one, right?
Yeah, Chuck Norris is.
Okay,
he's a judge at the end. Well, he's actually in the entire movie because every time the kid has a fantasy it's always him and Chuck Norris like fighting bad guys together.
Yeah, I only saw like the first like 5 minutes of it, and I wasn't really all you need.
That's really all you need. Literally the same. It's like the same thing. Like the kid, he's a weird kid. He has asthma. He already has a bully. As soon as he comes to, just moved into town. He's a new kid. They pick on him. They find out he has asthma, so they pick on him even harder because it's the 90s. And you have a dysfunction, so we have to fuck with you.
Fucking loser.
Like they literally like take his inhaler away. He's like trying to breathe, and like they play keep away with his inhaler. Like, it's so bad.
I mean, I know kids are rotten in real life, but like in 80s and 90s movies, they were like straight up trying to murder them.
No, it was all attempted murder. Like if you think of it, the original miniseries, the guy pulls out a switchblade and tries to stab the fat kid. Like it's attempted murder. Like all the bullying from like the 80s and 90s.
Stephen King bullies are another level.
Maniacal.
They're insane.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. Like the 80s and 90s, all the bullies were like this close to attempted murder every time they bullied somebody. Like,
and then at the end of the movie, they're like, "Hey, I respect you."
Yeah, after you kick my ass. That's basically what happens. Like one of the kids is it's basically like the Karate Kid, but with John Brandis. Like one of the kids is in the tournament in a karate school. And so like they go and he enters the tournament after he learns a few things, and then he like beats them at the tournament. But they don't actually ever fight. The contest is basically they win each other's respect by breaking bricks. That's part of the contest.
Oh, okay.
So they both do. There's like they never fight. Yeah, they never fight. Oh, they never fight. But so this whole tournament, which is weird. It's not really a fighting tournament. It's just like a kind of like a display of skills. So like he has to come in, he has to do like katas and shit like that. So they have a scene where he imagines himself in a ninja outfit and he does his kata routine, and then like they tie. So to break the tie, they have to break bricks. And John Brandis wins by breaking like 7 bricks that are lit on fire.
I kind of remember that. Yeah.
Like at first, like the guy, cause like the bully of the, he's like, breaking bricks easily. He breaks 4, he breaks 6, and then like the 7th brick, he only breaks 6 of them, and the 7th one's there. And so they bring the 7 bricks out for John Brandis, and he's like, I can't do it. I'm not strong enough. I'm not doing it. And of course, his Asian instructor comes. He's like, you can do it. I've taught you well. And he's like, here's a little motivation. And he like puts lighter fluid on the bricks and lights it. And he's like, you got to put it out or the building's going to burn down. So like, that's what motivates him.
Oh my God, I remember that. Bricks. Yeah, see, my brother originally tried to convince me to watch Cobra Kai because he's like, oh, Karate Kid. I was like, I actually I've never seen Karate Kid all the way through. I was like, because my brother's several years older than me. I was like, my karate movies were all in the 90s, and it was Three Ninjas, Surf Ninjas, Sidekicks, and he was like, what? I'm like, yeah, they're not making series out of those. Don't worry.
Three Ninjas and Surf Ninjas could become a series.
They could.
I'm not gonna. Don't. Here's the thing. We just put that out in the lexicon, so it's probably gonna happen. It's already out there. Like they're probably working on at least a Three Ninjas like reboot right now because they made like 5 of those fucking movies.
They did, yeah.
And like 2 of the last movies were in the like early to mid 2000s. So like that's not out of the wheelhouse for them to bring that back and make a series, especially now that Cobra Kai is successful. They're looking at all that shit.
I think the only thing holding back from a new karate boom is the fucking pandemic. I feel like
that's what I'm saying. They're probably like the scripts have probably already been written. They're just waiting to, because they're probably like big scale things that they can't do it.
And I think people like, I feel like every kid, I tried karate when I was a kid, and I didn't even make it to like getting a stripe on my belt.
Dang, you quit like after the first month?
Pretty much.
Okay.
I was not really into it. Yeah. I also didn't really like the teachers, and I was really put on edge because we practiced outside one day on grass, and one of the teachers said something insane about careful because ants might get between your toes and chew their way through into your body. And that just really fucked with me really hard at the time. I was like 8 or something. I was
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Like, what the fuck? I don't even know if I told my parents. I think I was just like, I don't want to do karate anymore. Because I think I was just like too weird. Like, I knew it wasn't true, but then I kept visualizing it. And just was like, what? I don't like these people. Like, and just kind of gave up.
Jesus. Who tells an 8-year-old that ants are gonna chew through your shoes and get into your skin? What the?
But we were barefoot. That was the thing. We were barefoot, practicing the karate out.
Christ.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
also,
a fucking horrifying image.
You can't
right?
tell me that, then expect me to focus on class. I'm gonna think about nothing but ants getting into my
skin. Exactly. So then I was outside like doing my little punch moves, and I was like,
looking down like
ants are gonna get me.
That's fucked up, B. No, what? You could have been a karate master.
I could have been a karate. I could have been fucking.
You could have been a champion. You could have been a karate champion.
Could be hanging out with William Zabka right now, and nothing.
His name's Billy Zabka. You would not call him.
Oh, he's William
Billy.
now.
He's a Billy. He's been Billy. His poet name is Billy Zabka. Okay.
No, he is William. He's in his 50s.
Yeah, that's true. No, he's not even a Will. He's a William.
He's a William.
He's for sure. You could have met Chuck Norris. Because actually, fun fact, my brother, he was doing me and him grew up doing karate, and he did karate in junior high school. And Chuck Norris used to come to his junior high school and watch their tournaments.
What a life I could have led if that guy had told me that terrifying fucking story.
Yeah, I don't know if he was in, Michigan, but you could have met him at some tournament somewhere. He's known to pop in the tournaments like.
I could have gone national, and
you definitely would have met Chuck Norris then if you went to the national level for sure. But you're worried about ants going into your skin.
And I have like an overactive imagination as is. Like,
see, that would have fucked me up too, because when I was a kid, I
did not need that visual.
When I was like 8 or 9, I actually playing hide and seek. While I was hiding, I was standing in an ant pile. They actually like ate
yeah,
all the way to like my knee. They were like biting me. They didn't get in my skin, but still,
I mean,
if I'd have had that happen and then my instructor tell me that they're gonna get in my skin, fuck that. I would never be outside anymore. I would stay my ass inside forever. That's fucked up.
People wonder I stay indoors, watch a movie and TV all the time now, you know? Fucking ants.
They're gonna get inside me.
They're gonna crawl. They're gonna gnaw through the space between my toes and come get me.
It's fucked up. How can you tell that to a kid and then expect them to focus during a karate class?
That's like the dentist that told me I needed to get the loose tooth out of my mouth when I was little, because otherwise I could swallow it and it would go in my lung.
Oh my god!
Michigan is fucking full of sadists if you haven't figured out by now.
I mean, I remember my friends telling me that, as my friends, little kids telling me that, like, if I swallowed a tooth, it would like cut up my insides or something like that. But your whole adult dentist told you that if you swallowed a tooth, it would go into your lungs.
Yeah.
Why?
People wonder why I fucking have anxiety. I have apparently, and through my parents were tried. They did not intend to send me to these places where all these other adults were like, what if we tell that little girl the most horrifying fucking thing we can think of?
Jesus
And
Christ.
she's already kind of on edge as a personality, and we just
I'm sorry, let me ask you this.
Crazy
did
visuals.
You grow up in a Stephen King novel? Because I feel like you did.
I mean, we're close to it.
All the adults, because like if you remember, like, and all the adults in Stephen King, especially when it's with kids, like they're all
terrible.
Just like they're all terrible, or like don't really give a fuck, or don't really pay attention, and like, or tell kids the weirdest, most fucked up shit.
Yeah.
Like, now I see why he's writing that shit, because clearly people in the Midwest are just telling their kids.
We were coming out of the now adults don't tell kids shit and everything, but yeah, I was just coming out of that era, and apparently Michigan is a lot like Maine at some point in time. And we had not progressed that generation of adults that was like, Jesus. I'm going to tell this kid a fucked up thing just for the fuck of it because I can. Lived on at the time.
Oh.
Sorry, I'm going to cut out like 90% of this, by the way.
Say what?
I'm going to cut out like 90% of this.
Whatever. It's the longer episode. Let them.
We're way off track, though. We haven't talked about the movie in ages.
That's fine. We'll come back to it. We'll get back to it. I'd like to come back to it right now. Leave it in. We pretty much covered.
I think we got it all, though.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't cover one thing. I truly enjoyed. I mean, for a movie being 90s, they actually did a really cool thing. So the scene where, Captain Zeta's walking through the market and her old nanny spots her and starts talking to her. I thought it was really cool that they covered. They made sure to stay within the realm of the universe that they started. And they paid a little tribute because the nanny was actually speaking an older language than Spanish.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's what I thought too. Okay,
so like he was clearly one of the original people,
like an indigenous person to Mexico.
Yeah. Like I thought that was really cool. Something you don't really see in a '90s movie and shit like that.
Yeah.
So the fact that they had her speaking like an old, I mean, I'm assuming that actress probably knew that language already. I feel like she did. You know what I mean? It's probably not something that they wrote into the movie. They probably just discovered it and was like, "Oh shit, let's put that in."
Yeah,
but still, the fact that was there, I thought that was so. I never noticed it until literally I watched it this time. But like she's speaking the original language of that, and it shows you like how close to accuracy they're trying to be with the history of what's going on.
Yeah,
because like, even though this is a fantasy, there's still kind of some realism within it. So I thought that was amazing, and I appreciate that scene now as an adult that I ever did as a kid.
Yeah,
as a kid, I was like, whatever.
Because I think the most recent showing of any kind of that acknowledgement of the language difference, even within Mexico, is probably Roma. The oh my god, I'm blanking on the director's name. Shit. The fuck's his name?
Alejandro.
Yeah. Shit, I'm not looking up.
Shit, I can't think of his last name. I know it's Alejandro something, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know it. Yeah. I haven't seen the movie. I heard it's really good though.
It is. It's Alfonso Cuarón.
Oh, Alfonso. Oh, damn it. Oh, I was thinking the director.
Pedro Almodovar.
No, I was thinking the director from that did what's that movie with Leo DiCaprio and he fights a bear, The Revenant.
Oh, Inarritu.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. Because the main character in that, she's like a maid / nanny for the much more European Mexican rich family, and she's more like an indigenous Mexican person. So it's really, again, I only read the subtitles, so I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Who was speaking what exactly, but I think it like a more indigenous Mexican language was being spoken.
Like the true Mexican language, not Spanish. Which you know what, I that's always like been an interesting thing to me, is like sometimes when you see I mean, maybe you probably never seen this, but like sometimes there's a little bit of like beef between black and brown. And like sometimes some people like people of Hispanic descent like kind of see themselves as better than black people, which I think is hilarious. And like we're the same. Like I don't know if you noticed, but you're speaking Spanish. That's not your original language, homie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just like me speaking English is not my original language. I mean, it is for me because I grew up in America, but like, you know, like my heritage is not in theory, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, how y'all better than us? Like the only difference is like y'all maybe wasn't in chains as long, but like y'all got taken over by the Spanish, just like we got taken over by white people. It's really not. Like, I don't know how y'all got this like chip on your shoulder when we are the same.
Well, it's my understanding too that even within, you know, like Mexico, there's the more like people with more European ancestry that maybe think they're better than people with more native or indigenous Mexican
well, it
ancestry.
also doesn't help too that a lot of the slave trade, like one of the ports was in South America, so like Colombia, Argentina, shit like that. So like, you know, all that shit going on, and then the mixture of that, because like, you know, some people stayed and when others left, so that's why you get like a darker, you know, people of Latin descent. But
because there's like Afro Latinx, there's you know Latinx, it's
I just always found that funny. It's like you see them like kind of stick their nose up. It's like, bro, you a nigga too. I hate to tell you, you're just a Spanish speaking nigga, but that's it. That's really it. There's no difference. No, but I love that scene because like it was just a good. It helped us sit like it. I'm looking at it in the audience way, like it kind of helped.
It grounds you to like a time and a place,
No, not just ground place, but keeps us in the world that they're building. Because like, you know, before you see that, you kind of, you know, yes, they have the subtitles at the beginning and tell you what time period is set in and all that stuff, but you see all this like fantastical sword play and people using whips as, you know, to swing on and all this
to put out candles.
Like, it kind of grounds you again. It's like, hey, we're back. You know, like Zorro's the fantasy part, but the place that it's set in is the real.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, Zorro is not really based on any real history,
right?
But I mean, there's a lot of historical acknowledgement of, you know, the colonization, people fighting for freedom from being colonized. And that's all in the background in a lot of ways, but at least it's sort of acknowledged.
Yeah. No, that's why like I appreciate that scene so much, especially now because, you know, especially now too, because like if this movie were to be made today, you know, if they didn't have that scene in the movie, somebody would have something to say. You know what I mean? Somebody would be complaining, especially if there's somebody who of that heritage. You know what I'm saying? You know, they'd probably be like, "Hey, why didn't you have anybody speaking our language, you know, around this time? You know, you would have seen a few people." And so the fact they added it in 1998, props.
Because there's issues with, you know, media kind of erasing things like that. So yeah, it is interesting that that's happening even in 98.
Especially too, if you look at it, because like, I mean, low key, there was like a lot of whitewashing in this movie.
Oh yeah.
So the fact that they had that in while whitewashing is, I mean, the balance was there.
Win some, lose some. You know?
Yeah, the balance was there. Yes, we have Anthony Hopkins speaking as a British man, but like we also got the indigenous language. So.
Which, by the way, I did make a note of this. So that whole opening scene happens. He sneaks home through the cool fireplace, spinny majig. He gets in there and he starts speaking Spanish for like 30 seconds. Yeah. And it's, you know, subtitled and everything. Yeah. Never again. He never does it again. I was like, whoa,
Yo, because
why do that then?
I'll tell you, my man Anthony Hopkins said, "I'm 61. Fuck y'all." Okay,
I can't learn a new.
I'm gonna learn.
I think he would learn Spanish. He's a dedicated actor. I think he would.
If they paid him enough.
No, I think he'd put in the effort. I think he's
he would. No. I'm saying he would, but like I don't for what they were probably asking him to do for this movie, especially because you already was saying no. You said
that's true.
He was already saying no because of back problems. Now he was like, cool. They probably didn't give him his his quote or more than what they were asking for him. He's like, look, I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna be Anthony Hopkins one time for y'all. Y'all can make money off my name, but I ain't doing no bullshit. Like,
but yeah, it's just
accents. I'm gonna learn a little bit of Spanish, and I ain't doing no fucking gunfights. Like, fuck that.
Yeah, although I will say sometimes it's better if you don't have people doing an accent because that can be really distracting.
I'm thinking that too because
like Spain has a million different accents. It's not
Yeah,
Antonio Banderas is from Andalusia, and that's its own accent. People Barcelona, Madrid, Barcelona, as everybody
Barcelona, yes,
kind of jokingly says, but that's technically how they actually say it. But you do not have to. You can just say Barcelona if you're speaking English. It's fine.
That's true.
Yeah, it's but people say that about America though too, because sometimes people will do an American accent or like a Southern accent, but even within the South, there's a difference between a Texas accent versus Georgia accent, and all those kind of things. Accents are hard, and so sometimes when people don't do them in a movie, I think it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, again, like we spoke earlier, it's you can if you know anything about Spain, and like I said, when you hear English speakers from Spain, you kind of can give a little bit of leeway, a break because like I said, some of the words that they do say when they do learn, because they learn the Queen's English, so like when some of the words they say, it makes like my friend Laura, she's from Spain. Sometimes when she's talking to me, I'm like, you sound British right now, and but it's always a few words, not. But like, I don't know. Here's why you can't forgive him for this movie is because everybody else had a Spanish accent.
Right.
Mike had one at the beginning. The maid had
Antonio
one.
Banderas has one.
Antonio Banderas has one. Captain Zeta-Jones has one. Like even Don Raphael's like his little side minions had Spanish accents.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like the only person that should have an American accent and who had one was the captain.
The captain,
My man De La Vega, or not De La Vega, but Don Raphael should have had at least a slight one. It's a little bit.
Yeah.
I
agree. If you're gonna not do it, then just apply it across the board. It's
across
fine.
the board. Yes. That's the problem.
And it's so funny because like Chernobyl, took place in Russia, obviously.
Right.
That miniseries, it was great. It was like almost predominantly British actors. I think I guess not Stellan Skarsgård, but otherwise, almost exclusively British actors.
Yeah.
And all with their native natural British accent for the most part. And people are like, oh, but they said up front, they're like, look, making everybody do Russian accents, that is going to be so distracting. Because
especially if they're no good.
Because it's hard to nail. It's very distinct. Like I take Russian and know how to like speak it and write it. And it's not easy.
Yeah.
And like I know my pronunciation comes out very American still. Sure. So to like do a whole like very serious drama covering a very serious topic and have people talking with Russian accent. Just let them talk how they talk. It's
I don't know. I would have been cool with it because here's the thing. I even would have let it slide as far as like Anthony Hopkins' character goes. It's like, because technically when he was in prison in California. So like if he kind of had an American accent, or slowly kind of more into like a closer to British American sounding accent, that would have made sense. You just spent 20 years in a prison in California. It's technically not American time, but like there was Americans there, I would be okay. But at least at the beginning, he should have had an accent. I would have, you know what I mean? I mean, fuck it. At least Halle Berry in the first X-Men movie tried to do a Kenyan accent and then lost that motherfucker in the second movie. So like,
she get it back in the third, she's all over the map. I mean,
what I'm saying, if you just a little bit of effort, that's all I'm saying. Just a little bit.
I always laugh because like Wolverine has a very American accent. I know Hugh Jackman's Australian, obviously, but then they're like, oh, Wolverine's actually from Canada. I'm like, wouldn't it be great if Wolverine had like a Canadian
Oh no,
fucking
absolutely
hoser?
not.
He's
Well, my
so
claws,
funny.
don't you know?
It'd be so
Adamantium.
funny.
When you say adamantium, so like that, like I don't know how
Yeah,
that.
aluminum. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
aluminium.
adamantium. Yeah,
Aluminum.
fuck that. Nah, that would.
Oh, that'd be really funny though if he had like
Dude, even if he just had a boot, like
a boot.
like
Yeah, if he said a boot, it'd be
Wolverine
great.
can't say a boot.
What's Magneto on a boot? Would have been amazing.
He gets punched. Ooh, Chitlin Rattler. All right. No, but no, that's it. I mean, I think that's all the things that I wanted to cover.
Yeah, I had a great time with it. I thought it like I watched it last night, which was a Friday night. This is obviously being released well after that, but I was like, what a nice little Friday night, like
not bad, right?
Kick back and enjoy this, like having a good time.
Yeah,
it's
I mean, it's one of those movies that like it's a movie that you can sit down and enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
It's also one of those movies that you could turn on and have as background noise while you're doing chores or writing or some shit like that. Like it's just one of those movies across the board. I don't know anybody who doesn't like the movie.
Yeah, because this to me, like I said way back at the beginning, is like on par with like a Pirates of the Caribbean or a Mummy and like action adventure fun. We're having a good time, you know. We got big fun set pieces, very likable, you know, actors and leading characters and everything like that. Johnny Depp's current situation notwithstanding, that's a whole other thing. But yeah, like, but those kind of like fun, like I said, kind of classical Hollywood, you know, big studio things that they don't. I mean, they do big studio movies now, but it's all Marvel stuff, and so it's kind of fun that this is like not, you know, it's not original in the sense that it's not based off anything. Like it is based off stuff, but like stuff that had been kind of out of mind for people for years.
For a while, yeah. I mean, the last time people were like into Zorro was, I think,
like the 50s,
60s.
Yeah, 50s, 60s.
Yeah, like the 60s was like the like I think the TV show wrapped up in like 62 or something like that.
I can tell you. Hang on. 1957 to 1959.
Okay.
But it was also there. It did have some 1 hour specials in 1960 to 61, and then it's one of those ones that just played, you know, on repeat. And they used to play it on the Disney Channel, kind of before the cartoons were on.
I remember watching, or not. I watched a few episodes, but I remember seeing Zorro. Like Zorro was like a late night thing.
Yeah. Like
come on late night. Yeah. It was like a late night thing. I can't remember what time it came on, but I remember like seeing, or be like, or if it was anything. A lot of times too, it went from like being a late night thing to being like an afternoon thing on Saturday, like when like all the cartoons are done. Then like these old school shows like Rawhide or fucking.
I used to see Green Acres a lot.
Yeah, shit like that, or the Little House on the Prairie. That's it was like after the cartoons were done. It's like, all right, your parents are exhausted. Let them watch this. Here's Little House on the Prairie, or Old Yeller. Yeah. So overall, how do you feel about the movie as in general? Like
really good. I really, like I said, really enjoyed it. Actually, it made me think of too, comparing it to all those other movies. There's a movie I like called My Favorite Year with Peter O'Toole, and he's like an Errol Flynn type action hero, and they make a joke about like him running and jumping and kissing and humping, and that's kind of what I thought of during this movie, because it is a lot of running and jumping and swinging from things, and short of humping. I mean, not that he humps in the classic movies in the My Favorite Year movie. That's actually, I'm gonna put that on the list for you, because My Favorite Year is really interesting because it is loosely based on Mel Brooks's time working at your show of shows in the 50s and having to hang out with Errol Flynn at the time.
Interesting.
It's like one of my favorite movies. It's so good, and it's so sweet and so funny. And Peter O'Toole is fantastic. If you like actors, Peter O'Toole's a classic.
Yeah. But this is actually one of my favorite movies. Like I said, I don't know if I wouldn't say top 10, but it's up there. It's at least top like 25, maybe 50, somewhere in there. Top 50 at least, for sure. But I'm glad you got to see it.
Yeah, that was fun.
I'm glad I got to introduce you to something. I don't know what we're covering next, but I can't wait.
Yeah, I don't know what movie we're covering next. We're going back to New York. We're going back to Sex and the City next week.
Yes. I'm excited because I'm ready to see what my girl Charlotte gonna be.
I don't know. I can't remember. It's fun because I the first season I'm so murky on because it's the one I feel like I've seen the least, but it's fun to discover it.
Yeah, I mean it's new for me. It's interesting. I'm kind of curious to see what they get into, especially after the last episode. You know, because we had Carrie and Mr. Big on the
your favorite.
And that stuff. So we'll see what their story holds.
Yep.
Anyway, so this is a good episode. This was fun. I'm glad you guys stay with us. We will see you on the next episode. We'll be covering episode 7 of Sex and the City, season 1.
And where can they find you, and then me, and then the show?
Well, you can find me individually at Mack Diddy Combs, MackDiddyCombs on Twitter and Instagram. And you, my man?
They can find me at Elizabeth Movies, all lowercase, on Twitter and Instagram.
Cool. And if you're a fan of the show, if you're already watching, you already know where you can find us on YouTube. But in case it's your first time, you can find us at Show Me What I've Been Missing on YouTube. Just type that in. We are the only ones that pops up. I've tried it a million times. We are the only ones. You can also find us on Instagram at Show Me What Podcast. And then on Twitter, the same, Show Me What Podcast on Twitter. So also, if you find us on Instagram, we got all the links up so you can't miss us. We on Spotify, YouTube, all the platforms. You can't miss us.
Yeah, the links are everywhere across every platform.
Every platform.
You can find us there. So
boom.
Haha, Zorro.
That was my Z.
You think anyone ever confused it for an N and they're like, no, dude, turn your head.
Noro?
Noro? What the hell's Noro?
Noro? Who's Noro? Oh, Zorro. Oh, man.
Okay.
I stopped recording.
Yeah, okay.